Hey! Welcome to another episode of Movies with Mark. My name is Mark McPherson, movie critic for TwinCitiesGeek.com and MoviesWithMark.com. I also wrote a bunch of books called The Best Worst Weird Movies of the 1990s and Pixels to Premiere is a History of Video Game Movies. And today we're going to be talking about two new films that are out this weekend, Paddington 2 and The Commuter.
And I'm his wife, Sarah McPherson.
Yes, and just my wife, Sarah McPherson. Also has her own stream, Vision Goo, where she does art and painting, which she worked on that last night. Looking good.
And I'm still kind of working on it, because it's watercolor and you have to let things dry, and I was tired, so. Continue.
All right, so, we'll start off with Paddington 2. The sequel to 2014's Paddington. And if you remember from that film, Paddington was sort of like a talking bear, sort of an anomaly in this world, who was found in the jungle and sort of discovered marmalade and clothing and ended up going to London because it's always been the dream of his aunt and uncle. Now in the last film, he lost his uncle in an unfortunate accident, and his auntie had to go off to the bear retirement home, so
they're obviously not anomalies. They're just in Peru.
They're essentially just in Peru. Well, they're kind of they're not as used to in London. It seems like they're kind of understood, but kind of not, because they don't touch on this much in the sequel. But in the first film, they reference the fact that they speak bear. Like bear language is separate from man language, kind of. So they don't touch upon it as much here, just because I think that joke might have gotten old.
Well. And in the first one, so if you noticed, what's with Peru? Because series of unfortunate events, they're like, oh, a whole thing in the second one is that they're gonna go to Peru. But they don't end up, but is it just lots of jungle or something? So they're like, we'll just put talking bears here. We'll put a whole bunch of I don't know. Snake expedition for the series of fortunate events thing. What else goes on there?
It just seems.
I know someone who's there right now, and it's just what is she going to discover?
Well, Peru within at least within the context of Paddington, it seems like mystical and adventurous, because that's the way that most of the Paddington world kind of plays out. Because they mentioned in the first one how they're kind of accepting of bears. They're kind of used to them, but they're not as used to them being in London. It's kind of oh, there's a bear there. Oh, let's not talk to him, kids. Let's just keep walking. So
I wonder what the people of Peru think about this kind of thing.
That'd be interesting. I was like, I don't care about the bears.
Bears.
What's up with the bears there? Well, they've become so accepting. Well, in Paddington 2, they've become so accepting of Paddington in the neighborhood since the Brown family have taken him in that the whole neighborhood's used to him. They really like him. He makes marmalade sandwiches for everyone. He always has something insightful and nice to say to somebody. He helps out around the neighborhood. He reminds people if they lock themselves out, asks them about how their day's going, helps them with tests. He's like the perfect guy you want in your neighborhood. And everyone loves him, except for Peter Capaldi, because he's still a little bitter from the last film. So he's now the block captain who tries to keep a watchful eye on everything. He's just I'm watching out for you, bear. It's you're just...
Doctor Who got real bitter after he turned into a lady, apparently.
I was hoping that he was going to go back to his roots from, In the Loop. When he just...
Is that the one where he just swears a lot? Because I don't think they're going to let him do that in a kid's movie.
No, let's see.
I mean, isn't Paddington Bear rated G or something?
PG, around there, yeah.
Alright.
But yeah, they keep him toned down, even though he looks like he's pretty angry. He's not the central antagonist, but
he wasn't in the last one either.
Not quite, but he favored the villain. He was kind of in love with her.
He was sweet on her because she was leading him on, and he was desperate. So
yeah, he's kind of like the secondary villain. He doesn't present any real threat, but he's kind of an annoyance. But Paddington still puts up with him because Paddington he tries to see the good in everyone. I mean, they pointed out blatantly a lot, but he's accidental. He makes mistakes.
Well, he is a child too, isn't he? Well, because he's not a full-grown bear, because they
No.
show the full-grown bears, and he's definitely not one.
Yeah,
So.
he's a little grown up. Like they show in the beginning when he was first rescued by his uncle and auntie in the jungle. So he's like they show him as like a littler bear, so he's at least a little bit grown up, where he can kind of go out in the city and kind of do stuff on his own.
He's still not an adult, though. He's still a cub.
Mostly, yeah. But like that's the thing. Like I think it's more about growing up because this time Paddington wants to do something nice for his auntie because it's her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to get her a present and figures, oh, well, I'll get this great pop-up book from this antique shop, but it's really expensive. So I think I'll go find a job.
Or you could find a cheaper present.
Or he could find a cheaper present. But well, he really wants this one because it's a pop-up book of London, and his auntie's she's always wanted to go to London. It's been like the dream of both her uncle and her aunt. Like they think like, oh, if they got marmalade sandwiches there, we should go to London someday. And so he figures like, well, I don't have enough money to bring her here, but if I could get her a nice pop-up book and show her a little bit of London, then it would be a really great present. So he gets a few odd jobs, like he gets a job at a barber shop, and of course it goes awry. He causes a mess of the place, as he usually does. But it's not. It's kind of like like classic slapstick of like Chaplin and stuff like that. How he's not trying to be destructive or slapsticky, but he's sweet natured and he ends up with egg on his face despite his best efforts. But it's okay because Paddington he comes out on top in the end, and unfortunately he's come in a little bit more hot water this time because he's dealing with a professional thief. In this film there's a thief called Phoenix. I'm going to say his name right. I think it's called Phoenix Buchanan, and he's played by Hugh Grant. Now you and I have seen like Hugh Grant in Cloud Atlas, where he's capable of being in all these different roles as a villain.
He was a villain in most of his roles in Cloud Atlas, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or maybe all of them. Like Hugo Weaving was too, like a villain in almost all of his roles in Cloud Atlas. If you're not familiar with Cloud Atlas, they have a primary cast, and then they have several stories kind of interwoven together, and part of the way to interweave them in the way that the book does is, because things are lost when they're translated. So to translate it to this media in Cloud Atlas, they had the same actors play multiple roles, and then they would put, a lot of makeup on them, basically. I'm really bad with the actress's name.
Like Halle Berry
the woman who plays Sang Mi. I've seen her in a lot of movies.
Yeah,
I don't know why I can't remember her name.
Bad with her name too.
I'm spacing out on it completely, and I feel really bad about it.
But yeah, it's essentially a big.
She plays a few roles, and one of them I didn't notice her right away because she looks completely different.
Because they meld.
Yeah, well, and I didn't notice Susan Sarandon in one of her roles because she was playing a man. And I mean, there's a Halle Berry role where she's also playing a man. You don't even notice it, and just one of the male actors plays a woman. He never speaks, and he looks like a woman, so you don't know that it's him either. And then even like Hugh Grant in the one where he plays that woman's spouse, he's got so much on him. You might not catch it that it's him right away either.
Yeah.
And it just I didn't catch them all the first time around.
Yeah. Well,
they just disappear into their roles and all that makeup.
Well, it helps, that they shift a lot through time and juggle a lot of characters, so you get lost within them.
I would recommend Cloud Atlas if you have a good attention span, anyway, because it's got a real good story, and
I think
there's a lot going on, but it all comes together.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's interesting to watch all these actors playing multiple roles too, and Tom Hanks in particular plays good and bad characters in this, and I don't. Yeah, sorry.
Well,
I'm digressing a lot from Paddington Bear 2, but it's a much more interesting movie than Paddington Bear 2. So
I think they're on par, but
Okay.
I do. Well, because like
Well, I haven't seen Paddington Bear.
that's true.
to be
Yeah.
fair.
Well, Hugh Grant, he's not, he doesn't have quite as extreme makeup here as like he did in Cloud Atlas when he was playing Mad Max villains.
Yeah.
But he does put on a whole bunch of disguises to infiltrate certain areas as either like a bum or a nun or a bishop, just trying to infiltrate these different places because he's on the hunt for treasure. Because he's basically a failed actor. He used to be like a big stage presence, and now he's reduced to doing dog food commercials. Where he
So
literally,
basically, he's like Count Olaf.
mostly, yeah. Except he's like they build him up as kind of very classic villain. Like he's got motivation.
He's a better actor, probably.
Well, he's got motivation. He's got some acting chops.
Yeah.
But he's a little bit insane because they reveal that up in his attic. He's got all these different costumes from his different stage plays, and he looks at them as different personalities. So it's kind of like he's conniving with like Scrooge and Perot, and it's like we have to combine our forces, and we'll be able to we'll be able to take the stage once again. Mainly because he hates doing these dog food commercials where he literally has to put on like an outfit of like a dog and actually eat dog food on the screen.
I don't know. Sometimes dog food looks pretty good.
So you kind of feel for him, but he's they establish that he's crazy, so he's a villain.
It's all that dog food, isn't it?
All that dog food. Well, they even say in the commercial he's doing say like not for human consumption.
Unless you're really desperate, like Tex Murphy, and that's all you can afford. Right?
Yeah. But yeah, so Paddington ends up getting caught in the mix because one of the key maps to finding this fortune is in the pop-up book. And Paddington tries to stop him, and unfortunately he's caught, and Paddington is sent to prison while the Brown family have to find out who was the thief and try to uncover Hugh Grant's character as this master of disguise who's trying to deceive everyone and find all these clues to attain this fortune. So when Paddington, so it's kind of like it's not exactly an original story, but I love the way that it plays out. Like when Paddington goes to prison, he immediately starts making mistakes. He gets on the prisoner's bad side. Like one of the first big mistakes he does, like he's assigned to do laundry. And he accidentally, without even knowing it, like ends up having a red sock go in with their black and white clothing. Mm-hmm. So now everyone's wearing pink, and they're not exactly keen on Paddington. And one of the things that Paddington really can't stand is the food in the place. Because he's mostly used to like marmalade sandwiches and stuff like that.
Gross.
And like they're serving kind of like this really disgusting grit. So he goes to talk to the chef. Who's called Knuckles, who's played by Brian Gleason, and essentially he's like those tough guys, like I don't like anyone criticizing my stuff, but Paddington, he keeps at it and he brings out the good in Brian, and then like things keep going crazy in the prison because just with his weird kindness he somehow is able to convert the prison into this kind of like nice and wonderful and kind of whimsical place where like,
prison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, because like it's weird because it's like a fairy tale because like all the prisoners have great personalities once Paddington brings them out, and they soon start converting like the dreary cafeteria into almost kind of like a cafe of sorts, and all the prisoners start combining and start making all these decadent dishes and
sounds like Tangled with like the rubber duck in or whatever.
It is. It's really cute. It's like like this would never happen, but it's so cute to see this as like this kind of fairy tale version of a prison where like if I were Paddington I would probably wouldn't want to leave there.
Because way down deep inside I have a dream.
I don't remember the lyrics of that song, but I know the one you're talking about.
I do.
I wish I knew more. Well, unfortunately there are no musical numbers in here, except.
Why is that unfortunately?
I don't know. It seems like it'd be fitting for this kind of environment because everything is shot very, very beautifully, and it kind of looks like a storybook environment. But I will say, like, I usually hate sticking around for mid-credit sequences or like mid-credit Easter eggs. This one's worth it because in the middle of the credits, Hugh Grant's character ends up in prison and has this huge, lavish musical number inside the prison.
Oh, okay.
In the mid-credit sequence. Like, oh my goodness, this is the best mid-credit sequence ever because there were no musical numbers throughout. And then here's this amazing sequence with like lights and coordinated dancing with all the prisoners. It's like, this is amazing.
Can Hugh Grant sing?
He's got some pretty good chops.
Alright.
He's pretty good. And he's fun to watch the whole time, just the way he kind of has, like, that big toothy grin the whole time, just trying to seem like he's not bitter about everyone, just trying to, like, work his way through. It's like, oh, I'll get that money someday, and just keeps working through it.
Get out of prison.
And one day I'll get out of prison. And everything is kind of, not quite overacted, but kind of, like, played up for the fun of it. Like, a lot of the supporting players are kind of getting in on the fun here. Like, you have some great supporting roles by like Patty from, like, Absolutely Fabulous. She plays a talent agent who's essentially doing, kind of what she did in Absolutely Fabulous, with that kind of, like, darling type talk of champagne. And then you have, like, Richard Ayoade from, like, the IT crowd, who plays a forensics expert, who has the glorious, he's only in one scene, but has the glorious opportunity to be in court and say, like, that he found marmalade at the scene of a crime, and then taste it to make sure it's the right kind.
So that's Moss, right, from
Yep.
IT Crowd?
Moss from IT Crowd.
Okay, I can picture that. Sounds funny.
It's amazingly funny. There's a
He's
lot of
funny.
there's a lot of great little supporting roles in here. I forgot who she was, but there's a woman who plays this character in the neighborhood called Miss Bird, and she runs the newsstand, and she has a little parrot by her side who is a little bit more intelligent. The parrot kind of helps out with the plot a little bit, and she's really in love with this guy next door, but he won't really talk to her until Paddington, decides, like, hey, maybe I'll wash his windows and brighten up his day, and then maybe he'll come out and maybe he'll talk to Miss Bird, and she does. It's cute. There's a lot of cute moments in this film. And I think it's like, yeah, it's cute, but it's also, I think it's very intelligent too. Like, just like, I mean, like, the whole idea of, like, Paddington trying to bring out the good in everyone, even for as whimsical as this world is, you really do like him and his message with this. And there's also and it's really great for the adults too, mainly because, yes, one, it's very intelligent, but there's also these very neat little subtle jabs in there. Like, there's a clockwork sequence in there, which is, like, straight out of Charlie Chaplin. Like, they even have, like, the little Chaplin mustache at the end, just to remind you of what they're drawing from. And I swear there's a scene where Mr. Brown is doing, like, a tribute to Jean-Claude Van Damme in the scene from Time Cop. Everyone knows the scene in Time Cop where he does the splits.
Oh. I don't think I've seen Time Cop.
There's a scene where, in order to avoid being electrocuted on the floor in his underwear, he does the splits on top of the kitchen counter.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it might be...
Sounds extreme.
I think it might even be closer to, he did, like, that car ad where he was doing the splits between the cars.
Oh. I think I've seen that ad.
There's kind of a direct tribute to that in this film.
I'm just going to say you better like it because you said you'd take her kid to it.
Oh, I'm definitely going to.
So now you just kind of have to like it.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is like the type of film that...
Otherwise, you're out of luck.
Well, this is the type of film that I think kids should be seeing because, I mean, yeah, it's intelligent and it's sweet, but it's also, it's got a lot of great slapstick, especially when Paddington is trying to clean windows and he can't quite do it. I heard a lot of kids laughing in the theater during this. And just the visuals are amazing. Like, there's a great scene where Paddington wants to talk with the other prisoners, so he unscrews, like, the cap to like a pipe in his cell. And so, like, all the other prisoners are doing the same, so, like, the visual effects are going in between the pipes, so you're listening to them. And there's a great scene where, like, they're escaping, like I said, with the clock tower. They're scaling up the clock, and it looks like something that you could only fathom kind of an animation with, the way that the clock works. But I really dug it. Like, it could have been an animated film entirely, but the fact that it's live action, that it works, especially there's a great climax with the train sequence at the end, which is just ludicrous and fun enough that I think it really drew me in. Like, I expected it to kind of go on autopilot by that point, but it still has a lot of great ideas to it, and I like it a lot more than the first Paddington because I think with this script they find more for, like, the Brown family to do. It always felt like they were struggling to have them do something here, but there's a lot going on because Mr. Brown is having, like, a midlife crisis because he's not getting promoted at work. He's fearing that he's losing touch with himself, that he's not the same physical specimen he was. Mrs. Brown is trying to, take off with her storybook career. She's trying to She's trying to like write more kind of like books for kids, but also mysteries, and so she wants to get involved with the mystery. So she kind of becomes the detective that tries to stalk Hugh Grant.
Stalking Hugh Grant.
And then like, even the kids have stuff to do. Like the little girl starts up her own newspaper agency to help out with trying to find who was responsible for Paddington going to prison. And you have the little boy who fancies steam trains. So of course, when we have the climax with the steam train, he gets to take the reins. So there's a lot going on here. There's a great use of character. It's a lot of fun. There's some there's some great little shots here. Like there's one sequence where Paddington is visiting. They have like like the visiting booths in prison, and some of the prisoners start coming by, and they all start kind of like popping their heads out of the sides there, like in a cartoon. So it's very sweet, very lovely. I mean, it's written and directed by Paul King, who you might know from The Mighty Boosh. And it has very much like that kind of style of The Mighty Boosh, where it's kind of like winking at you and having fun with it, but still being very visually sweet, and just overall, I mean, I love the whole idea of taking this property, because usually when we take properties like of children's material, we try to whip it up into something else that like they're just stalling for time. Here, there felt like there was a real purpose to Paddington. And great character with him. I mean, Ben Whishaw does a great job voicing this character. There's so much to love in it. It's a very, very sweet film, and the more I think about it, there's very little that I didn't like about it. Like most of the stuff that I kind of had issues with were just like small stuff. Like there's a sequence where like Patty from Absolutely Fabulous keeps commenting on the children bringing her pastries. But she keeps calling them buns, even though it looks like they're mostly like muffins and rolls. But she keeps calling them buns because they have a sequence where they record her and then they play it back. So obviously it just eventually leads to a joke about butts. But yeah, and it's kind of telegraphed, but at the same time it's like, yeah, it's pretty funny for what it was trying to do. So for Paddington 2, I'm gonna go 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Well, then it should be good when it comes out on Netflix, and I have to watch it about 15 times. So.
Only 10.
Then you'll put your foot down.
then I put the foot down.
Like, no, you have to pick something else.
Yeah.
But Daddy,
you switch it up on the kid. That's what you do. Remember how much you complained about Labyrinth? Didn't you like Labyrinth?
Oh yeah. I still gotta get her watch. We're watching Jumanji. I know she said she didn't want to, but she has to.
Yeah.
It's not optional.
No, you have to watch Jumanji. But yeah, so yeah, if you got kids, definitely take kids. And if you don't have kids, I'd say if you really want a sweet film in January, because January is usually kind of like a dead month, or usually just when we have the big Oscar films. If you just want a very cute, very sweet film that's very like knowing with its humor, definitely see Paddington 2. Because I came out of that and there was an elderly couple with no kids, and they came out raving to the reps about how much they love the film. So there you go. But I think it's mostly because there's a lot of elderly actors in there too, so that helps.
It's probably why the elderly people were there. That are like, oh, I read this book to my grandchild. Isn't Paddington Bear kind of an older book, or did it come out just shortly before I was born, and that's why I think it is? When did it come out?
It's fairly old. I know like there were shorts in like the 1980s of it, so the books have been around for probably at least since like the 70s.
Okay.
So yeah, fairly old property. Okay, so Paddington 2, obviously a great film. Go see it. Next film is The Commuter, starring Liam Neeson, and it's directed by Jean Collet-Serra, who I consider to be the director of the better Liam Neeson action films. Not the great ones, but the better ones. About as well as you could do a Liam Neeson action film at this point.
I liked Taken.
Well, he didn't direct Taken, but because I think that was.
But it's a Liam Neeson action film.
Yeah.
I said.
Yeah, it's a Liam Neeson action film. Yeah, Taken's good.
The first one, I didn't see any others.
No, the others are garbage. But yeah, the John Collette, he's directed Nonstop and Unknown and Run All Night, and and those are all very good action films. They didn't really surprise me that much, but they're still a lot of fun to watch. And a lot of people are thinking like, oh well, The Commuter takes place on a train, so is it the same thing as Nonstop, the film where where he's trapped on a plane and he gets a phone call from a terrorist saying he's got to kill somebody on the plane in a certain amount of time or everyone dies. And for a lot of people who are thinking like, oh well, The Commuter is just Nonstop except it's on a train. Well, for those people, the people who think that that's what this film is, well, they're right. That being said. That being said, it's a vehicle like that I think still works. It's like, yes, it is very much the same formula. In fact, you can kind of have a game setting your watch to the Neesonisms of what's going to happen.
Do you think Liam Neeson's annoyed with that then? Because he seems to be tired of this kind of thing.
Yeah, he kind of seemed like it because from what I heard on the red carpet interviews, like he was apparently like wandering down there with a beard and like a thermos of something, and I'm not gonna say what it was.
He's just tired.
He's just tired. I'm guessing it's coffee. He said it was tea, so I'm guessing he's just tired of it. But he still doesn't sleepwalk through this role. He still puts his best foot forward with these films, which I think is what makes them work so well. And mostly because he sells like the grit of it, he still has some passion in his voice there. He's still got some emotion for scenes that it seems like he could just fold it in. Like it seems like he could just take the Charles Bronson route at this point, because he might be thinking like, oh, I'm Charles Bronson at this point. You know, it's like the Death Wish films. I come in there, say, where's my daughter, and then yeah, I get into a fight. Here he doesn't have a daughter, he has a son, but so they're switching it up a little bit.
Okay.
They're switching it up a little bit, but yeah, like I said, you can set your watch to the Neesonisms. Like it isn't long before they reveal that he's got a family. It isn't long before they reveal that he's down on his luck. It isn't long before a terrorist starts talking to him and says like, there's someone on the train you gotta find. And he loses his cell phone, but then you start like, okay, how long is it gonna be till he gets another cell phone? Because it's a staple of the Neeson films. He's always got to be chatting with someone on a cell phone and say like, what are you doing? Why are I'm not going to work for you anymore.
I have a certain set of skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
that too, that was what I was waiting for, because they set him up as an insurance salesman who's recently just lost his job. And so there's a terrorist who comes onto the train and says, look, I'll pay you this much amount of money if you can find this one passenger and kill them. And you have to decide by this stop, or guess what, everyone on the train dies. And so he unfortunately gets locked into it, and so he's like bickering with them over the phone while he's trying to search for who on the train is the person he has to kill. Now obviously he doesn't want to kill this person because he knows he's going to end up taking the fall for it, obviously. So it's mainly just him trying to figure out how this whole plan is working, like why he's supposed to kill this person, why there's a certain device they want from him. And so it's kind of, he employs, like his ex-cop skills as a detective, and trying to figure this out. Like he starts, narrowing down the passengers. Like he figures out like the passenger is going to get off the last stop, so I got to look for this ticket. I got to determine who it might be, who might look like they know something. And I love the way that Collette kind of directs it as a mystery, because he always focuses the camera just enough on potential suspects, like to catch them like kind of looking over at him. Or looking at their phone, or eyeing their suitcase or something like that, where you kind of suspect everyone, and Neeson feels like he can't trust anyone. Because he's not only looking for who he's supposed to kill, but also, the other terrorist working there. There's like someone else there who's watching him who could kill him if he tries to get off the train, or if he tries to do something stupid. So there's a lot of tension going on through here. Another thing that I love that Collette does, at least what I saw him do in Run All Night, which is making Liam Neeson battle somebody with an unorthodox object for a weapon. So like in Run All Night, he was battling somebody with a flaming 2x4. In this film, he's fighting someone with a guitar, who's fighting back against him with an axe. So yeah, we get that scene, and like yeah, there's a few scenes you kind of expect here. Like there's a lot of fist fights that they have in between the train cars. There's a scene where they're gonna punch somebody out the window, and there's of course there's gonna be another train coming on the other side, and they got to get off there. There's a great scene where he gets under the train to avoid authorities, and then once the train starts up, he's got to get out from under the train and run alongside it and get up on top of it. Unfortunately, we don't get a scene where he's fighting on top of the train. I feel like we might have missed something there. So I don't know. At least he avoids that one expectation.
I feel like fighting on top of a train is like really unrealistic. They even did that on Murder on the Orient Express, and I'm like, since when is Poirot an action character? He's usually a really fat dude. I'm still really hung up on that movie, apparently.
Well, the thing is, I was actually kind of thinking of that film because this is kind of like a more interesting mystery because you're left a little bit more guessing because you are keeping your eye more on the suspects as opposed to Murder in the Orient Express where you were just kind of following suspect by suspect like at the rate that Poirot was going.
Except I remembered who did it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
but even still they could set it up. Like that's the one thing I love about the Commuter is like they do have like the camera wander so you can play along too, trying to think like, oh, who might be behind his corner? Like there's someone he's not looking at who's kind of looking at him. Is he the guy? Is he not the guy? Mm-hmm. And he uses some pretty cool tactics here. Like at one point when he thinks he's narrowed it down, he starts fiddling with the air conditioning so that they block off a cart so that he can get all the suspects into one car, and then start questioning them a little bit more bluntly out in the open. So yeah, it's fun to follow in that aspect. I mean, eventually, yeah, the plot it keeps getting more twisty. It keeps getting more ludicrous and ridiculous. It's especially when we get up to the point where we literally start having the train derail into a big fiery explosion, and it still continues on after that, and it keeps building with like who's betraying, who's working for who, what do they need, what do they need this person killed for, what do they witness? But after a while, it's just one of those films where you stop really questioning like the mystery of it, and you're just kind of more entertained by just watching the wheel spin here. It's like, oh, this person's backstabbing. Well, it's not really believable, but I gotta say, I didn't see it coming.
Okay.
And there's a lot of stuff in there where you don't quite see it coming, and you either just go like, oh, that would never happen, or you go, oh, damn, I didn't expect that to happen. Like I said, it's in the same league as like Nonstop and Run All Night, where it's not perfect. Like there's a little bit of missed opportunities here. I think there's some great supporting players here who don't really get enough time on screen. Like Patrick Wilson plays a fairly big part as kind of as a current cop who used to know Liam Neeson's character on The Force, and he's really great in the film. And he's got kind of a prick for a chief played by Sam Neill. He's really cool. But they're mostly in kind of like bookended segments. You don't really see them that much. They don't have as many scenes. Which stinks because the times that they are on screen, like Patrick Wilson is usually pretty good here, and I thought he was amazing for the few little screen time that he had. So yeah, it feels like there's a little bit of lost potential here, and like I said, like I feel like they missed out on a few action scenes, like having a little fight on top of the train, but that
would have been a little cliched though, wouldn't it?
A little bit.
The action movie, and it's not a train. Better get on top of it.
You better get on top.
Except probably Snowpiercer. They probably didn't go on top.
No. Not quite on Snowpiercer. Well, you couldn't get on the train on that.
No, that's why I said you probably wouldn't get on top of the train in that one. Couldn't leave the train. Freeze to death. That one dude lost his arm, so.
That's freaky.
Yeah, that was really disturbing, actually.
Yeah, by the end of the Commuter, it gets really corny, especially when it tries to like wrap up all the plot lines really quickly with a nice bow, a nice little corny, little one-liners towards the end there. But at that point, you're just kind of like, well, as far as we got, we've had as much fun as we can with it. So yeah, it always managed to entertain. It never, there wasn't a moment where I found myself bored with the film. I found myself predicting some stuff, like some scenes, but never as much the plot. Like I always felt engaged with it. So it's basically it's kind of the same deal as like like Nonstop and Run All Night. And if you like those films and if you don't mind seeing it again, then yeah, it's I definitely recommend The Commuter. If yeah, but if you're tired of the Neeson formula, then there really is no reason to go see it.
Oh, poor Liam Neeson.
Like I said, if you've seen Nonstop, you've seen this. It's like oh, what else could he do? It's like because it's the same formula over and over again. Well, they suggest at the end like oh next time I'll take the bus. It's like oh so we could be
Speed 3.
That's what I was thinking. It's like oh great, the next one we could be on a bus. Oh wait, we already did that film. So yeah, for The Commuter, there are parts that I like, parts that are a little bit predictable, but always kept me entertained. So 3 out of 5 for The Commuter. It's a solid way to spend some time. It's nothing groundbreaking. There's nothing you're going to come out of it going, oh man, this was one of the most amazing action sequences or amazing thrillers I've ever seen. But nah, it's a sufficient thriller. It's
just for funsies.
It's just for fun, yeah. And it's a little bit comforting that you can have a film like that in January when especially because usually January films like it's usually like dumping on season. There's usually like trash on season. But I'm actually surprised because last week we had Insidious, which it wasn't great, but it was still fun. And then we had like The Commuter here, which is fun, and then you have Paddington, which is super fun. I was like, maybe January's getting better.
Yeah, I'm still pissed with Insidious because they advertised that one model being in there.
Yeah.
And then they didn't put her in the fucking movie.
Yeah.
So...
I would really be curious to see that if there was the director's cut, because that character she's supposed to play has a lot of scenes in that film. Like a lot before when she gets to the prison cells in there. Especially because there's
the character you suspect that it was.
Yeah, because it makes me wonder if how she acted during other, because there's a lot of scenes where her character is supposed to be kind of have her kind of like her head to the ground, or she's supposed to be like stationary for one scene and they look away and she kind of scurries quickly to the other side. Mm-hmm. I'd be curious to see how she acted in those scenes. Mm-hmm. If they filmed her
them. With those scenes.
If they filmed them, because then
they certainly advertised with her though. So
yeah, which is kind of weird that you see all these advertisements with her in the film, and then you get to it and you're just like, where is she? Where is that actually?
Not cool. I don't know. I follow that model and I think she's neat. So
because she spoke in those clips, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah.
She said this way or something like that.
Yeah, it stinks. Well, it's one of the many things that kind of stink about Insidious, because like I love the trio of characters. They're great. They're still fun to follow in this film. But like I said, there's a lot of flaws that keep holding it back. Like it's very much like The Commuter, where there's missed potential here. But it's it is what it is. It's a lot of fun for what it is, for what it's trying to do. For having like little ghost hunters, they have great charisma. They're fun to follow. Great actors. So, wish it could be better.
Yeah.
But there you go.
What are you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
I'm gonna come for
you, bad boys.
Bad boys.
Somebody, I forget who it was. Somebody mentioned on Twitter that they should do a crossover of Fast and the Furious with Bad Boys.
All right, who broke my pen?
With it?
I know it wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Did the kid get a hold of this one?
Maybe.
Oh, these are expensive pens. Maybe I did and forgot about it.
Let's see.
She won't get in trouble for it.
So I'll kind of glaze over this, but the Golden Globes were last weekend, and I don't really watch them, but I like to keep an eye on which films win.
I don't give a rip about award shows of any sort, so.
Nah, but they usually like to publish. Like I generally like looking at like who wins and just kind of like bickering over that. I don't like actually watching the award show. I like watching it more on Twitter, because it's a lot more fun to like just watch reactions happen on Twitter than it is to actually watch the show. I kind of like.
I'm not on Twitter by choice.
Yeah, I kind of like Richard Roper's idea for how they should do award shows, which is just they'll just have like a big party, like you'll pick up your award as you enter. Like you look at the list, you look at there, and you go in there and grab it, and then just go into the party, and then just get drunk the whole time, and they'll film it.
That sounds funnier.
It's funnier, yeah.
There might be some drunken brawls or something.
Yeah.
You won. I should have won.
Imagine how much fun it would be where you see some esteemed actor come in there, and then the other guy won the award enters in there, and then just film their face, because that's
like was it Faith Hill during that country music award?
Yeah.
They showed that online, you know, where her face when that other person won, she's like, what? You know, so.
Well, that's usually the best part of these award shows is you want to watch the reaction of when they win or when they don't win, because that's the funniest thing. Like everyone's kind of said this. Like I always, if there were a feed of just like every single actor at the same time that just was constantly on their face, that's what I'd watch.
Instead, it just shows them going like this.
Because honestly,
that's like the Leonardo DiCaprio one or something. I don't watch this shit.
The most memorable thing from last weekend's Golden Globes was when James Franco won for Best Actor, and Hugh Jackman was just kind of sitting there at the table like aghast, just kind of like staring off like, okay.
Why did Hugh Jackman think he was gonna win?
That's what I think he really thought he was gonna win, because The Greatest Showman was supposed to be like his big project that he wanted to work so hard for.
Okay. But like I saw the clips of The Disaster Artist and it looked really good.
It is really good. And that was the highlight of...
It looked better than The Greatest Showman based off the trailers. I didn't actually see either of them, but when we watched the trailer for The Disaster Artist, our kid turned to me and said, I want to see that movie. And we're like, no. Looks really funny. No.
Tommy Wiseau was funny. But though I think like someone on Twitter made like the great comment for that. So like, but I wore. Did they know I wore a top hat? And then
they know I wore a top hat.
I wore a top hat for the film.
Oh, top hats. There's
I think
acting. Oh, just.
But I think he was.
Pinnacle.
I think he was more aghast that when he came up there, he went up to the stage with Tommy Wiseau, and.
Franco did?
Yeah.
What did Tommy Wiseau be like? Okay, this is mine because you were playing me.
He tried to get close to the mic, and like Franco kind of like laughed and pushed him away.
From what I heard, that Franco kind of tried to avoid him from preparing for the role because Tommy Wiseau is out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Difficult to work with.
Yeah, as they revealed in the both the book and the movie. So it's one of those things where like they want to acknowledge him, but they want to like keep the distance there. Because
sorry, Tommy, you have not been accepted by Hollywood.
He actually has a new film coming out.
I know, I've seen the trailer and it looks creepy. I would totally buy him as a serial killer, like 100%.
I'm not a villain. It looks like it looks like Tommy Wiseau. It looks kind of like he hasn't really, I guess, sold out more or less. It kind of feels like if like Neil Breen made another Neil Breen film after he got popular. Like he just keeps his style. And whether you like him or hate him, at least he's honest.
Yeah, I would like to see The Disaster Artist.
It's a damn good film. It was probably the only film from last year where I like really laughed hysterically at.
Yeah, it looked really funny and yeah, it looked good.
Yeah.
Too bad they have a sex scene. Otherwise, I would consider.
It's
because I don't think there's any like strong violence or anything, right?
No.
Yeah, so it's just the weird thing where he's trying to like have sex with her belly button.
Does he know he's having sex with her belly button? But I do love that scene for how awkward it's played up, because it occurs in between the scene where he starts acting to a jerk to everyone on set, and starts referencing how Hitchcock would do the same thing, and referencing how like, well, he got results, and like that's what I'm trying to be. And he's kind of like, it's like, yeah, he's both right and wrong in that scene. So it's kind of an interesting scene, even though Franco is doing the scene entirely while he's naked and has his penis wrapped up for the scene. So.
Has his penis wrapped up?
Well, like, like they don't want to reveal, like, when they do nude scenes in movies, they'll cover up the junk with something. So
that's really creepy.
So he's wandering around on set with it on. It's like, Tommy, can you put on like a towel or something? No, it's real. We got to do it real.
Ew. That sounds really uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, there's
Tommy Wiseau's junk.
So yeah, so he won for best actor in a comedy. Let's see, best actress in a comedy though was Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird.
Yeah, I still want to see that one.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could go to movies.
Yeah, we'll get it. Come out on video, we'll get it.
Yeah.
And no surprise, best comedy was Lady Bird for the win there. So obviously, because just Lady Bird is like, yeah, like I didn't laugh hysterically as much as Lady Bird as I did at The Disaster Artist, but there was no moment where I wasn't smiling. There wasn't a moment where I wasn't. Where I didn't love the characters, where I was involved the whole time. I dig it. So Lady Bird is one of those films where you just want to go and just like see great people that you feel really good about watching, that feel three-dimensional. Everyone in that film was great. Every supporting role.
Great.
Let's see, like best drama. There's a lot of chatter, a lot of wins here for Three Billboards Outside Missouri, which I still haven't seen yet. Now I really have to see because it swept best drama, best actress Frances McDormand, best supporting actor was Sam Rockwell, which I feel was, I don't know, like I feel like if maybe I saw it, I'd probably like it, but right now I was rooting for Willem Dafoe for the Florida Project. I think this is like the best role of Willem Dafoe's career.
Cool.
I think because as the hotel manager, I really dug him. And what's her name? Brie Vitae, who's playing the kind of like hooker mother working outside the motel. She's amazing in the film too.
Yeah, I heard Red Letter Media talk about that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, is this an actress or is this like a real person or something like that, you know?
Well, Sean Baker's films make you wonder about that because, like I was mentioning, that film Tangerine, where he's got two prostitutes running around city streets during Christmas, trying to get back some money, and they're so deep into the role that you start wondering, did he hire real prostitutes? Because this feels way too real. And that's kind of the cool thing about Sean Baker is that he stages scenes so well, you wonder how much of them are staged, especially with the kid actors. Mm-hmm. The kids in this film feel more real than any kids I've seen in any movie. Like everything, the way they react, the way they get emotional. Because like usually with like kid actors, just like you direct them, you have them do what you would expect actors to do. Yeah. Here it feels like Sean just like turned on the camera and said, "Kids, just do whatever you want. And just kind of act like kids." Like he'll give them like maybe a little bit of notes and then just like send them on their way. Because there's a lot of sweet nothing scenes here, but they do a great job of stashing the kids. Like there's scenes where just like the kids are just drinking soda and having a belching contest, or there's scenes where they wander around the woods and make sandwiches with jelly, or they wander into abandoned condos and then just start predicting what they're going to do with their lives at this point. And it's not one of those like oh, if I grow up I'm gonna do this. It's like kind of 6 and 7 year olds would talk like when I grow up I'm gonna do this. It's stuff like it feels way too natural. Mm-hmm. Where you really start wondering about Sean Baker, like what he's doing behind the scenes.
We got a viewer now, and immediately when we got a viewer, it's like I suddenly feel like itchy. You know that feeling when you're being watched.
Is it here? Is someone watching me? But no question who best actor in a drama was, and that's Gary Oldman.
Oh, yeah.
That was.
Did he win?
Yeah, he won.
Oh. Well deserved.
Because it's between him or Daniel Day-Lewis, but I think I had a hunch that Oldman has this wrapped up because
I loved him in that movie.
Because you've never seen Oldman like this. Like no. Day-Lewis he's great in the Phantom Thread, but you've kind of seen roles similar to it. Like he's doing a great job, but you know Oldman just completely disappears in that performance. And when you see him at the awards, where he looks all thin and svelte, and then you see that
no, he pulled it off amazingly. He must have had like he must have had a bodysuit on for at least parts of it, because
great makeup, man.
Or maybe a body double for that scene when he's walking out of the bathroom naked. I mean, come on. I mean, granted, you only saw like the legs, but
yeah,
they were fat legs. So
I'm coming out without naked.
Fat. He didn't say I'm coming out naked. He said I am coming out in a state of nature.
Nature. That's right. Found an elegant way to say that.
He's classy.
Yeah.
Winston Churchill, apparently. So.
It's
like half the time in that movie, Winston Churchill is eating.
Like half the time he's eating or drinking or smoking cigars.
Or in a state of like in his pajamas or something.
Like my favorite scene is when he's having like a lunch with I forget, like
the king.
But with the king.
King Ramsay? Is that his name? Ramsay?
I think so.
I want to say Ramsay.
He's having lunch with the king, and the king's remarking like,
I don't know British royalty.
It's like, it's lunch, and that's not your first drink of the day. It's like your third or fourth. It's like, how can you drink so much? It's like, practice. It's perfect.
Build a tolerance.
Perfect. I was kind of interested in who won Best Director. It was Guillermo del Toro. The Shape of Water.
For Shape of Water, that's good.
Yeah.
I want to see that movie. I want
Definitely.
to see Shape of Water.
Yeah, it's expand. I think it's expanding more now. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's still out there. It'll hopefully be out there for a little bit longer now. It's got this Golden Globe behind it, so it's probably going to make more of an Oscar push now. But yeah, it was great. Like Del Toro's speech was the only speech of the night I cared about, just because he talked so much about like how he loved working with genre. And how it just displayed how much affinity he had for monster movies. Just to have someone like up there giving a speech like that at the Golden Globes. And then after that, he went to In-N-Out Burger.
Burger.
That's great. Oh my goodness, it's so much fun. I'm trying to think of the others. Best animated, no question, was Coco. Coco won. There's no surprise there. Best score was actually The Shape of Water too. Which kind of surprised me. The more I think about it, like the soundtrack they had for The Shape of Water was very, very eclectic. Like when they wanted to have like big band numbers, it felt very much like the 60s and 50s orchestra music that they had back then. I love how like they use the soundtrack to kind of place you in a different era or different place entirely. Because when the film starts up with Elise inside her apartment, they kind of have like an accordion going, so you're almost kind of thinking like, is this Paris? And then they go outside and you're like, oh no, it's not Paris. But because they have kind of like artful accordion going, it kind of fools you into that. And then later on, when they start showcasing more of the amphibian man, they start have kind of not quite like a theremin score, but kind of like a theremin-esque type weird score to him, where it kind of feels eerie, but still kind of a little bit romantic.
Interesting.
So the more I think about it, that was a really cool score. I was kind of disappointed though that the best song that won the night was "The Greatest Showman."
Oh yeah. Which one were you hoping for then?
I was hoping for "Remember Me" from Coco, which was nominated.
I haven't seen Coco, but I was just listening to like a Wisecrack video about it or something like that, and even that had me tearing up, and I had to stop listening to it.
Oh my goodness! Because I'm curious how much you saw there.
Gave a lot away.
Yeah, because by the time you get to the end of that film and you hear that song, oh my goodness! Not a dry eye in the house. One of Pixar's best things about making people cry. But no, the winner was "This Is Me," which is the song from The Greatest Showman. When all the sort of oddities are kind of like marching back to the stage after P.T. Barnum has kind of like shut them out. And saying like, oh, you can't be at this party because you're kind of freaks, and so they start marching back to the stage, saying like, we're not afraid to be freaks, and like we're proud and all this, and they start singing. I'm glad that it is well sung though. I think of all the songs, that's probably the best one out of The Greatest Showman. But I think Remember Me just that song meant so much more in that film because you hear it in like three different versions. And because
Maybe
like
they couldn't pick a version. I don't know.
well,
Maybe they're like, oh, it's an animated movie.
well if screw that animated movies before.
Well, I mean, didn't you tell me something once about those judges or something? Or was that one of the other things? I don't know. I can't keep this stuff straight.
Well, that was for for best animated film. Like, yeah, if you want a horror story about how warped the awards show, look up the kind of like the exit surveys they had for the nominations for best animated film, because most of them are usually either just comments of, oh, I didn't see any, oh, I only saw one with my kid, I don't really care about them, but I guess my kid shut up for this one. And those are mostly just like the passive ones. There are more like belligerent ones. Like one person got angry that the Lego Movie wasn't nominated, and that and that the Tale of Princess Kaguya and Song of the Water was nominated. And Princess Kaguya it's a Ghibli film from Japan, and
I haven't seen that one. I love Ghibli films. I should watch that one.
I got that one. It's a
well, we
damn
have
good
to
one.
watch it. Why haven't we watched it?
We'll watch it then.
What the hell, Mark?
It's kind of old, so. But yeah, that one was nominated, and Song of the Sea was nominated, which is from the I think it's from like Scotland. Another great film that I have, and both those films are great, but apparently it angered some other viewer that they were nominated, or the Lego Movie, that they said, why are they nominating these obscure fucking Chinese cartoons that nobody ever fucking saw? And that's an exact quote.
Oh, F them.
Yeah. It's like, man, can't catch a break. Because usually that's kind of like the MO of like the Oscars now for animated films, for at least for nominations, is that they'll pick like the three big ones, and then they'll pick like a few smaller ones. Like I think they'll probably pick like for the Academy Awards, they'll probably pick something like Bird Boy, or Loving Vincent, or
I want to see Loving Vincent so bad too. They only played it at like art house type theaters.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really get it together to go see that movie.
Yeah. So for the Oscars, yeah, Loving Vincent will most likely be nominated. It probably won't win though, because they just do that for that. But Coco
Everything
will
in
win.
Loving Vincent is a painting.
Mm-hmm.
The whole movie is painted.
Every frame.
Every frame of that movie is an individual oil painting.
Yeah.
Done in the style of Vincent van Gogh.
It's
one of my favorite artists.
It's kind of amazing that there's, in terms of like mainstream animation this year, there wasn't a lot of great stuff. But but looking under a lot of like the more obscure stuff, there's really some cool stuff. Like with Loving Vincent is a great example. I saw a little bit of clips of Bird Boy. That looked amazing, and it like just came under the radar. And then there's Don Hertzfeldt's second part to what's it, like The World of Tomorrow. So there is some good animation out there, even though it was kind of dry this year for good stuff.
Nope, you're here. I'm so happy.
Oh, nope.
See you.
I think those were the only big ones I cared about, because I really didn't care that much about like the television awards, because Twin Peaks was only nominated for one award and didn't win. So.
What movie you want to see? Go see Loving Vincent. Every frame of the movie is oil painting.
Every frame of painting.
Every frame. Done in the style of Vincent van Gogh. I think it should be out on DVD soon if it's not already, because it was only in art house theaters.
Yeah, it came out around October, so chances are, if not this month, definitely next month it'll be on DVD.
Yeah, it's a little harder for me to get to those kind of movies because there's only one theater, basically, anywhere near me that'll be playing it. It has really expensive parking, and I need to get a sitter and find someone to come with me.
Yeah.
I think Mark had like book fairs that weekend or something, and it just really wasn't going to happen. So
it can be tough. Well, yeah, I guess we're kind of lucky that we're that close enough theaters, because there are some people who are kind of like they want to see these films, and they're like 2 hours or 5 hours away from them.
Well, that's we live in a metro area.
Yeah.
So
that's why I kind of love this kind of new movement towards doing streaming films like about like a week after they're in the theater. It's only for like really small films that you barely even see, but it's easier to recommend them because they did with films like Vince Vaughn has a violent prison film he was in. It got a very, very small release, but it just recently came on streaming, and now everyone's kind of checking it out like, ooh, there's a pretty awesome Vince Vaughn movie out there. Amazon will do this too. Like Amazon Studios, they'll release their film into theaters, and then after like a month or two, once it's had enough time, they'll throw it up on Prime.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
I like Prime.
And then of course you have Netflix. They'll just throw what's up on there right away, which is easy, which is great because then I can easily recommend Mudbound.
Yeah, there's things I like about Netflix and things I like more about Amazon. It depends on what you're looking for.
I think Amazon...
But, like, Amazon has older stuff on Prime than Netflix, because Netflix kind of like got rid of all their older stuff. And they're all about the new stuff now, so...
Well, like, yeah, I've seen several articles of people saying, like, you know, Netflix's problem with classic cinema. It's like, they don't have a problem, they just don't want it.
Apparently. They used to have a lot of it, though.
They used to, but...
I used to watch, like, a bunch of Marilyn Monroe films and other old films, you know, fabulous old films on there, because there's a lot of older films that I enjoy.
Well, that's why you're starting to see kind of the streaming market kind of diversify more.
Yeah, I don't like that, though, because then I have to go pay for a whole bunch of different services to watch things that I used to only have to pay one service for. So
that's true, and that can be...
I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah. But if it's like a particular types of films that you want, I think it's worth... Like, the only ones that I think are worth it right now are just... Well, one, Netflix, because I think they are doing, you know, like, they're starting... Like, their films are getting really... Are starting to get better. Their series are definitely worth watching. You know, BoJack Horseman, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, and all that.
The only TV, like, any kind of TV-esque shows that I watch now are just, like, basically 3 Netflix shows.
Yeah.
So.
Amazon
3 or 4 Netflix shows.
Amazon Prime's definitely worth it because I think their studio is turning out a lot of their films are considered for Oscars, even more than Netflix, and a lot of their shows are actually kind of nipping at the heels of Netflix right now because just like this month they're going to debut a new Philip K. Dick series called Electric Dreams, which looks amazing.
Yeah,
and
that sounds cool.
And then we got the Return of the Tick in February.
Yeah. I was really into the Tick, and then they ended on that cliffhanger. I was mad, but
they even shout cliffhanger.
Happy. Yeah, they have him shout cliffhanger. Why? Jerks.
They're intentionally doing it to you.
Breaking that fourth wall, huh?
Yeah, I was surprised how many risks they took with the Tick with that.
Oh, it's so good. I liked the original Tick series too. Well, I didn't watch the cartoon really. Strangely, but I mean the other live action series I liked.
The cartoon's not great, but some parts of it you can kind of see they're trying to sneak in some of like the adult humor from the comics there. Some of it comes through.
I think I watched like maybe 1 or 2 episodes of the Tick.
The
cartoon show, I mean.
Yeah, it's weird because like at one point when it was still airing on Fox Kids, they were trying to market it more towards adults.
Yeah.
Which is weird because it's weird to kind of market a film a show on Saturday morning intended for kids to adults. So they're like, hey, adults, tune in at 11 a.m. for the Tick.
I had tried to stay up a few times to watch Freakazoid on Cartoon Network at like 2 a.m.
Oh yeah.
It was still on. I just love Freakazoid.
I remember usually being on like Sundays are kind of like in the afternoon, but yeah, they would air stuff all times.
At some point, it went to like really late at night, you know, like or early morning, depending on how you're looking at it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I wasn't very well supervised as a kid, so.
I remember Johnny Quest used to be on at the 2 a.m. slot. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. I stayed up really late for Space Ghost Coast to Coast a few times as a kid too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of those shows we watched together.
That and
Aqua Teens. First Date. Oh, love.
Amazing. So you know it's love. I remember Speed Racer used to be in the late evening slot, which was...
We're like the only people who liked that movie, I swear.
Oh, I disegree. There's a lot of people who love it now.
Who love it?
There's a cult following for that film now, man.
I love that movie.
It's amazing.
It's a fun movie.
But I was like, oh yeah, like Netflix and Amazon, you go for the latest TV and movies, which are pretty good. But if you want old film, I do Filmstruck.
Yeah.
I mean, Filmstruck has a lot of the older films, the more international films, the more classic genre pieces. I mean, and I like that as kind of that stop for just... I mean, there's a lot of more diversified places out there. Like, you have BritBox for British television series and movies. And then you got stuff like Shudder or Chiller or something like that for horror films. So it's kind of spread out all over the place, but I consider just Prime, Netflix, and Filmstruck to be like the key 3 streaming services that I would take advantage of. But Speed Racer, yes. I love Speed Racer.
Go, Speed Racer, go!
Is that a ninja or like a nanja?
They had a really good cast for that movie too. I liked that movie. I liked it a lot.
Well, it was fun, and it was knowing of what would make
The little boy was funny too.
That would make Speed Racer kind of fun and just visually appealing. Like it's a batshit insane film in terms of how it was assembled.
So good.
But amazing cinematography and just like the color, like when what was it, that race at like the Monte Cristo or whatever. It's a race through the desert, and it's got some amazing color going through there.
I hate to ask you to do this, but I actually can't get past you. Can you let the dog out?
Okay, I'll minute.
I'm sorry. Oh.
You back?
When you gotta go, you gotta go. And the dog just gotta go. And I don't want it on the floor. Ah!
I'm back.
Yeah, for like a minute.
For a minute, and then
until
the dog
wants to come back in.
So yeah, Twin Peaks. I was mad that I was mad that for the return, the only nomination it had was for, I think, Best Actor, which is Kyle MacLachlan.
That's like the non-Netflix show that we had to pay. Like, we had to temporarily get an HBO subscription to watch that, didn't we? Or was it Showtime? Showtime.
Yeah.
Something I don't normally watch. That thing, you know.
I watched a little bit of Billions since I got it. Not much.
Yeah, I mean, you got rid of it right away, right?
Yeah, after there wasn't really much anything.
We can't afford to be paying for that all the time.
Not as much, no.
Okay, the dog wants to come back in.
We good.
Ooh.
Here you go.
If you're wondering why I keep looking down, it's because I'm coloring, so. Drawing, coloring.
I'm back.
Drawing with color. Bam.
But yes, Twin Peaks is easily, but I say this because I haven't watched much of any television, but I think it's the best television.
We don't have cable TV or anything, so we really just watch the things we can stream or the things we buy outside of streaming usually from Amazon, because we just have to see it. So
yeah, you gotta see Twin Peaks. Well, especially it's on DVD now. It's an amazing set, and it's amazing because I'm following a bunch of people on Twitter who are watching, who are big fans of Twin Peaks, and they're watching it for the first time on DVD, and it's amazing to watch them all flip out around episode 8, when the entire plot just stops. And we go to 1950 and watch the atom bomb explode.
Oh yeah, That was an awesome episode.
It's the most surreal and
yeah,
bizarre and engaging
it's really
television
good.
ever made.
I was listening to, theories constantly, and it's just, it's so fun to think about. I'm still, every once in a while, I'm thinking about what happened in Twin Peaks. It just...
Oh, it's impossible not to, because there's so much to take in from that show. Just how the evil of Bob was formed, what role Laura Palmer played, how the Black Lodge works, which even for as much time as we spend in it during this time, we still know barely anything about it.
I love it.
And Dougie Jones is the best television character ever made.
Well, I mean, we knew what time it would be made available for us on, our streaming service or whatever, and I could be hanging out with a friend, and I'm just like, okay, I really got to get home and watch Twin Peaks. It's our thing,
Well, I freaked out when I got the subscription, because when it was on premiere night, it's weird because they put up the episode immediately when it started airing on Showtime. So 7 or 8 o'clock rolled around, and I said, "Oh, well, I wonder if Showtime put up the first episode." Because usually, they'll, if a show starts, they'll put up, the first episode, and it'll be 2 hours, or they'll put up, 2 episodes for 2 hours. There were 4 episodes up there.
Yes, and then we watched them all.
It's like, did I miss a date? It's like, no, this is premiere night, so people who subscribed to it got to watch 2 more episodes on the same night.
So good.
Which is great, because then it's perfect. Reminds me, very few networks would do that, but they reward you if you did. Very few times there would be some networks that would reward you for going to their streaming service because they give you early access.
I just think if they're gonna make another season though, Twin Peaks, they better do it before they have to turn more people into tea kettles.
Yeah.
So, that would be good.
Well, yeah, because most of their cast is old, and they're all dying off. It's sad, because it's sad that most of the episodes feel like they have to be tributes to the actors, since most of them are just they're elderly and being picked off.
The Log Lady one was so sad because she emphasis on was alive.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know. Because David Bowie had been Philip Jeffries in Fire Walk with Me. We were just watching Labyrinth again the other day too, and it's just and we were watching the Venture Brothers too, but he wouldn't do the voice in Venture Brothers, yet he would do it in My Little Pony.
They were pretty bitter about that. I remember they made...
The Sovereign was David Bowie, sort of. But you won't voice yourself, but you'll voice a pony. Okay, alright.
Maybe because the episode they wanted to bring him in for, maybe he didn't like the idea that he was going to be fighting Iggy Pop and Klaus. Maybe. It's like, no, I know Iggy, I know Klaus, I wouldn't fight them. It's gone. I was quick to point that out though, soon after that. I was like, never forget, David Bowie once fought Iggy Pop and Klaus.
Another thing related to the Venture Brothers actually is when Colbert wouldn't come back because he made it big.
Yeah.
Lowered my opinion of Stephen Colbert a lot too. So.
I remember when they made a big deal of that on Harvey Birdman. They had a whole episode
they had to kill him off. That was awful.
But then they brought him back.
Yeah.
Vital stunt casting. Well, I love how they're so blatant about it. They try to usher him out of the show by having to get run over by a bus. That if you freeze frame it, it says "Watch the Colbert Report" as he gets smacked by it, and then
I didn't know that. That's great.
And they even make more blatant references, they have his twin brother come back, and they think it's really him, so they say Phil's back, Steven's back. So they know. It's Stephen Colbert, man. But well, who did they? I forget who did they replace Stephen Colbert with? It's fairly well known. I get him. I think it's Will Forte.
I don't know.
It's either Will Forte or I always get the two voice actors confused. I'm just gonna say Will Forte.
Okay.
But it's someone who can do a pretty good Stephen Colbert, at least for the role they're doing of the Mr. Fantastic type character.
Yeah.
And that show, I mean, the Venture Brothers is like, like it feels like a season comes out like every half decade.
Yeah.
At this point,
it takes forever.
But usually when it comes back, those episodes.
It's amazing, though. Yeah.
They're amazing, yeah. And those episodes really do hold up. Like we were watching a handful of them a few nights ago, and they're still hilarious.
Love that show.
And they're great quality too. They're great to look at. Those specials they do, like most of the time, they spend so much time pushing stuff back because they want to do a great 2-hour special, and they usually end up being pretty good because they end up using all of the characters and find something for them all to do in a huge story.
Yeah.
Because it usually feels like they run out of time with the Venture Brothers episodes. Because
there's never enough. There's never enough Venture Brothers. I'm always disappointed that there's not more. They always leave me wanting more.
Well, it's weird because it's hard to tell how much they were taking out and how much was by design, because it always feels like the formula they designed for Venture Brothers, they always want to focus on the scenes that are not as interesting as that you'd have in an action show. Mm-hmm. So they would always they'd show the aftermath. So if an episode would begin with someone that's already has a stomach virus, or somebody's already been incinerated, or a plane's already crashed, or something like that. And they would do that between scenes. They would not show a battle. They just cut to after the battle where they're already bickering about what to do.
Bickering's funnier.
Yeah, because those are the better scenes. They know what works. I wanted to try something.
What do you want to try?
I wanted to try. I flipped through a few of these. One of these.
I thought you were going to do that last night because I saw you had them out.
Well, I was thinking about it, but I thought I'd do this. One of the presents I got for Christmas from my folks was they gave me this kind of TV and film quiz card set. And most of these, I was surprised because most of these questions are pretty easy, but I'm wondering how easy they might, because a lot of these are basic ones. I thought I'd give them a go.
You're hard to buy for it because you don't need or want anything.
No, because
we had a couple of chatters. Bananas says go Super Saiyan, and there's so many vowels in this. Is pipe full of something?
Is he
gay? Can you review Bloodlust Zombies starring Alexis Texas? Alexis Texas. Rhyming name.
I'm interested. Bloodlust Zombies with Texas Lexus, is that it?
Bloodlust Zombies.
Bloodlust Zombies.
It sounds like a porno to me. Is it a porno?
No, it's probably just like a trashy horror film, kind of like zombie strippers, something like that.
Sure, why not?
It kind of sounds interesting. Yeah. Name sounds interesting.
Okay, on to the trivia.
All right. We'll do trivia. And these are, again, like I said, these are easy. So you can get these. All right. So.
Oh, are you insulting me?
No. I'm just saying because you don't watch a lot of film or television,
no,
but these are pretty easy. I think you get them.
Okay, go for it.
All right. So, what are the names of Marge's twin sisters in The Simpsons?
Patty and Selma.
There you go. Okay, this one's a little more trickier. How many Academy Awards did Titanic win?
I don't know, and I don't care.
Yeah.
Any of you know or care? No response yet. No. Well, there's a delay, isn't there?
There's a little bit of a delay.
A little bit of a delay.
But yeah, Titanic. It's one of those films that I want to hate because, back in the day.
You want to hate it.
Well, because the more I go back and watch it, the more I kind of like it a little bit more.
Okay.
for what Karen was doing.
I can't watch it. It's too long.
Well,
I get like to a point, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. Even though when that first came out, I was a kid. I don't think I don't think I saw that in theaters because I don't think my mom was that stupid.
Well, I had a personal vendetta against it because the biggest thing with it was the Celine Dion song. My Heart Will Go On. Nobody would shut up about it.
Yeah, I was one of those weirdos that loved that song. So.
And at my school's talent show, every single girl sung it.
Your school had a talent show?
Yes, and every single girl sung that song.
Let's see.
That was their whole bit.
Nope has never seen Titanic. They're a movie novice. Don't bother. I mean, I guess you could, but it's super long. Back when VHSs were a thing, it was on 2 VHS tapes. Mm-hmm. Or was it 3?
No, it was 2.
It was 2, okay.
It's not that long.
I don't know. It felt long. It felt long for me. But, I'm not into romance. I'm not really into... I don't know. I like historical dramas, but I'm not into romance. And they laid on the romance real heavy in this. Yeah.
But it's worth it when you get to the ship going down.
Yeah, that part's kind of interesting.
That's amazing.
You know what I did like, though, was the game, Titanic, An Adventure at a Time. Because I like those kind of games.
Point-and-click adventures for life.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. There's
other kind of games I like, too, but I do like point-and-click adventures, and I have played that game many a time. Yep. The music is really creepy. And you kind of get this, like, ooh, exciting chills. And there is, like, danger in the game, too, I guess, because you're kind of, one of the endings is that, there's multiple endings, and one of the endings is that you prevent World Wars 1 and 2. And another one of the endings, because it involves, like, a painting, and it turns out to be, like, a painting that Hitler painted, but there's, like, stuff on the back. So a few of the endings involve Hitler becoming a successful painter because his painting was on the Titanic.
Wonderful.
So he doesn't become a terrible person. Basically, he stays being a painter. Or you stop the Red Hand from getting funded, so you stop them from assassinating Archduke Ferdinand, which began World War I. I don't know. It's really far-fetched stuff, but it's really fun, I think. It has that the video kind of action things where it's
not quite FMV,
FMV, but
like static shot.
Yeah,
they do kind of like the clutch cargo thing.
Sort of. Not quite that bad.
Well, no, yeah, it's one of those like things where the early 90s would do that thing where you'd have the very detailed shots of people and you just animate the lips and it looked weird. So
yeah, I don't know. It was a fun game though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I know I wasn't the only one either because when me and my friend were one of my best friends when we were a little older. She had the strategy guide, so we played it so that we could get the correct ending together.
Yeah.
Video games.
So, it won 11 Academy Awards for Titanic.
No one cares.
No one cares, though. All right, which sci-fi TV show had the tagline, "The truth is out there"?
Oh, X-Files.
Yep. Dave Lister was a character in which TV show?
Red Dwarf.
Yeah. There we go.
I feel like you're testing my geek cred or something.
That was a good exercise. Get your brain flowing. Yeah, because these are kind of like mostly exercise.
Should I give more time in case other people want to answer? I don't know how long the delay is.
Yeah, I'll give them longer on this one because this one they actually got wrong in terms of the answer, but like the question I'm sure someone could ask. Which of the following films was not directed by Edgar Wright? Shaun of the Dead, Ant-Man, or Paul?
I'm
And
pretty sure I know it. Do you want me to like give like a few minutes before I answer?
yeah, we can give like a few minutes, but going along with that, Edgar Wright. I'll take this time to mention that Edgar Wright's Baby Driver is an amazing film, and it's one of his best considering he's made like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
Oh, I love Hot Fuzz.
And Hot Fuzz is damn good, but I gotta tell you, man, Baby Driver is just so well coordinated.
I have seen Baby Driver and I did enjoy it. And I'm not a big action movie person, so it's definitely a good action movie.
How could you not love a car duel set to Queen? It's the greatest thing ever made.
It is a fantastic movie. I definitely would recommend it. Can I answer now? Should I answer?
Yeah. Why don't you answer? We can keep in.
My answer is Ant-Man, because he didn't actually end up. He was supposed to direct it, but I don't think he got in a disagreement with them because they wanted to make it part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he said, "Fuck no, I'm not putting that in there."
Yeah. He also didn't direct. He didn't direct Paul, but yeah. But I'm assuming because they say the answer is just Paul, but he didn't direct Ant-Man, so I'm assuming they made this in 2015 before he got off of Ant-Man.
Okay.
And just assumed that Edgar Wright would direct Ant-Man.
So I am both right and wrong on this one.
You are right and wrong, but also this card is wrong as well.
Okay.
So you're both right and wrong. Everybody wins. To say on Breaking Bad.
Everybody wins or everybody loses?
Both. The world is whole again.
Picture update.
Oh wow. Dang. It's looking trippy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going all out on this one.
Yeah.
It started with watercolored pencil, and I used a little bit of the black pen, and now I'm doing colors.
Well, this one's stupid. What do the letters in OC stand for the television show The OC?
Are you kidding? It's Orange County.
Yeah. What film marked Quentin Tarantino's directorial debut? In other words, the first film that Quentin Tarantino directed.
I don't know this one. Do any of you viewers know it? I'll give you a few minutes because I know there's a delay.
Yep, the first film Quentin Tarantino directed.
Just running through all the Quentin Tarantino films in my head, but I'm pretty sure they weren't the first.
Hmm. Start as.
What?
Looking forward to Tarantino's Star Trek.
Oh, that just seems odd to me. That doesn't sound right.
I'd be curious. I think
see what happens.
If he really does love Star Trek,
dog farted.
I think he could be faithful to it. Because I think like Tarantino has enough clout to do stuff more dialogue based, and that's mostly what the Star Trek episodes were.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Especially Next Generation.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if anyone's gonna answer. You go ahead.
All right.
Answer. I have no idea.
So.
Well, I guess I've seen Pulp Fiction, and Reservoir Dogs, and then there's that other one with the lady. I can't think of the name of it right now.
I know what you're talking about.
It's not the one though, I'm sure.
Yeah. The first film that Quentin Tarantino directed was Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, it was 1992, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, he directed Reservoir Dogs. It was a very small film. He made it with just a bunch of people. He convinced Harvey Keitel to be in it, and that kind of launched his career.
I guess it had actors I recognized in it, so I assumed.
Well, it did, but it was during a time where Keitel was kind of trying to put himself out there. He was trying to do more
different things.
Yeah, he was trying to do different stuff. Like Bad Lieutenant was kind of like a huge jump for him to play a really savage character. So yeah, he was able to convince him, and then his career took off from there. And then he was able to get Travolta and Samuel Jackson for Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Let's see. What type of animal is Indiana Jones scared of?
Snakes.
Had to be snakes. Which two actors wrote Good Will Hunting?
Matt Damon and Ben
Ben
Affleck.
Affleck.
I feel like if we did this at a party or something, it'd be really unfair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Some of it. It seems like these questions are kind of made for if you were of the era, you would mostly know this kind of stuff. Like
Yeah,
even
maybe
just
it's meant to be. Well, I don't know. Some people just don't watch all that many movies, though. And I mean, I don't. I haven't watched a lot of recent movies, so.
So you might know this one. Which actor starred alongside Mel Gibson in the Lethal Weapon movies?
I never saw Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, but who is his co-star? He was with him in all the Lethal Weapon movies.
I didn't watch any of the Lethal Weapon movies.
Oh. Danny Glover.
I thought you said actress.
Oh no, actor. Danny Glover. I love the fact. When my roommate and I were watching.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yep, that's the line.
Take Glover.
Take Glover. That's what I was gonna say. When I was in college, we were watching Saw, and Glover plays the cop in it. And there's a moment where he's being fired at, and he takes cover behind a thin wooden beam that is way too thin to absorb bullets, but he still hides behind it. And we used it as a new term called "Take Glover," which is whenever you try to take cover over something that doesn't hold it up. Yeah, I get the joke. I'm commenting on myself.
Okay. You're telling yourself that you get the joke.
Yeah, I get the joke.
So hopefully you do. Well, that's not a difficult joke to get.
Use Take Glover. Which film featured the line, "I'll have what she's having"?
Oh, When Harry Met Sally.
Mm-hmm.
It's when she's doing the, this is a fantastic sandwich.
I'll have what she's having. Who voiced Woody in Toy Story?
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, some of these are ridiculously easy. Which Netflix show is based on the memoirs of a woman's prison?
Orange is the New Black.
Mm-hmm. What is the nickname of Jeff Bridges' character in The Big Lebowski?
The Dude!
Dude of Birds.
Would recommend that movie. Really like that one.
Who wouldn't, man? I remember
especially if you like stoner comedies, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the Big Lebowski, when it came out, it was people were kind of confused by it. They weren't quite sure what to think, and it's kind of become a cult hit over time because they realized you can't really follow the story or question it much because you're more entertained by just watching the individual scenes of.
I just like that actor. I like the actors in it, but also just we tend to like a lot of cult movies, don't we?
Well, I think it's very much in league with the other Coen Brothers films because they eventually get to a point where you're not even really paying attention to the story. You're just watching great individual scenes that work really well.
Good characters, too.
Yeah, amazing characters. Nicolas Cage is the nephew of which renowned director?
Francis Ford Coppola.
Yep. What was the first color film to win an Academy Award for Best Picture?
Wizard of Oz?
Nope.
I don't know.
It was a big one. It was Gone with the Wind.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I should have known that one.
It's a big one. It's kind of.
I've never actually watched that movie. I know my sister-in-law loves that one.
It's most of it holds it. It's quite long.
One of my sister-in-laws.
Bit of a chore to get through, but it.
Yeah. That one's pretty long too, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It's like almost nearly like 4 hours.
I do like older movies. I should watch it. I don't know. I don't know if my attention span's that long for movies.
That's why no one saw Blade Runner.
Well, I've seen Blade Runner.
Blade Runner 2049.
I've seen the new Blade Runner.
Yeah.
I've seen Dune. I've seen Cloud Atlas is actually a pretty long movie, and I was praising that one up and down earlier in the stream. So. Well,
usually, like around 2 to 3 hour movies are kind of easy to see. It's harder to recommend. Like one of my favorite films ever is The Seventh Samurai, but it's hard to recommend that film because it's 3.5 hours.
I've seen that one too. I liked that one.
Yeah, and that one's amazing because it hooks you from beginning to end, and it's nearly the same. Because I think The Magnificent Seven is 3 hours too. It's just like a little bit shorter than that. And people love that one too. So
I can't remember if I've seen it, but I should because I like Westerners.
You have?
No, Westerns. I have seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Because-
I've seen all the versions of the Seventh Samurai, haven't I? Because I saw the one where it's in space. I saw the original and I saw the Western.
Yep.
Or is there another one that I'm unaware of?
Oh, there's probably endless amounts of stories that rip off the Seven Samurai.
Well, how many stories can you come up with? I guess I don't
That's
know.
true. Well, it's such
Those ones were blatant though.
yeah. Well, it's a classic story. You know, especially the Seven Samurai because they say blatantly right in the opening title. It's like it's based on a Kurosawa film. So there you go.
Well, you just said the Seven Samurai, and then you said that it's based on Kurosawa.
Oh, I meant Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, there you go.
See, it's easier if they call it Battle Beyond the Stars. Then I won't get confused the names. How many dragon eggs were gifted to Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones?
3.
Who plays Dr. Watson alongside Benedict Cumberbatch in Sherlock?
Let's see if I can remember his name. Martin. Oh wait. Martin Friedman?
Yeah,
Okay.
Martin
I
Freeman.
kept wanting to say Martin Short, and I'm like, no, that's the comedian.
Sherlock.
Well, he's not always a comedian because I saw him play a creepy rape person in a SUV.
Yeah.
Law and Order SUV. And he was really creepy in Santa Claus 3, which I watched for the first time, last month because I have a kid.
He was.
Otherwise, I'd never watch that movie. She keeps asking to watch Home Alone 4, and I'm like, no.
She
No.
wants to, I think she wants to keep going through Home Alone, but she kind of thinks it's the versions that we're thinking of Home Alone because we kept on talking about all these different versions of Home Alone that'd be better, like having the origins of Frank.
Oh.
and
No, because she saw the third one with her grandparents at their house. And I'm like, why? And my dad said it's good. I'm like, no.
because I mentioned this while watching Home Alone, is that all the other supporting characters are much more fun to follow than Kevin, that they should get their own Home Alone films.
Yeah.
Like Frank, the greedy bastard, should have his own film called like The Frugal Adventures of Frank. Where he goes off on a trip and just steals everything from a hotel.
Well, then we kind of joke, like, why didn't any of the other alarm clocks in their house go off? Did Frank steal all the batteries?
Because Frank... No, it's Fuller.
Fuller,
the little kid who would keep drinking cola and then piss the bed.
Macaulay Culkin's younger brother, Kieran Culkin, right?
Yep.
Who's actually, in my opinion, a better actor, but...
Fuller is the key to it all. In the film Grease, what was the name of the gang that Danny Zuko was part of?
I know that the girls were the Pink Ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the T-Birds?
Yeah.
Yeah!
There you go. Now we got it. And who was the first Disney princess?
The first?
Mm-hmm.
Was that Snow White?
Yep.
Yeah. I've had to watch that movie way more than I'd ever care to.
Let's see. Which U.S. state is Breaking Bad set in?
Arizona, isn't it? Or no, wait, New Mexico?
Yep, New Mexico. Let's see. In The Wizard of Oz, what is the name of the city that Dorothy is trying to get to?
The Emerald City!
For the wizard.
Go look up on YouTube The Wizard of Meh by Pogo. Good song.
Everything by Pogo is a good song. So
Yeah, actually, that's completely true.
yeah.
I love Picard and Data particularly. Just always got to plug that stuff because I love it.
Any remix by Star Trek is already been made.
Oh yeah.
What was the name of Ross and Rachel's child in Friends?
I don't know. I don't care about Friends.
Yeah, me neither. It was Emma, but who cares? Which film featured the line, "We're gonna need a bigger boat"?
Jaws.
Yeah. For what film did Julie Andrews win her first Academy Award?
It's either Sound of Music or Mary Poppins.
It is Mary Poppins. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, here we go. Which film featured the character Dr. Frankenfurter?
Rocky Horror Picture Show. Played
yeah.
by Tim Curry. I watched that when I was probably way too young to, of course. It's one of the movies I contribute to, like, my sexual awakening as a child.
So, Labyrinth
that
and
one
Rocky Horror.
Labyrinth and Rocky Horror. Oh, and I've also seen Monty Python: The Meaning of Life. Way younger than anyone ever should. So
a film with literal sex education.
Yes, my childhood was very thorough, and the weird part is I watched that with my dad, who I don't think he actually let me watch PG-13 movies before I was 13, so I don't know how that one slipped by. I think it was on TV. So
yeah. I think I might have watched The Holy Grail with my mom.
That's a PG movie.
That's a PG movie.
That's a PG movie.
And yet...
And there's a whole thing with the castle anthrax and oral sex.
Oral sex. We actually... I think we actually convinced our elementary school to let us watch it too because we told them it was PG. So we got to watch that. Yeah, we were jerks. You kids,
that's why I don't worry too much about what my kid watches. I mean, I'm not going to let you put...
No, we won't put
not
that.
letting you get away with the Wolf of Wall Street on forever. But,
you know, yeah, like 80s PG, you know, I gotta be mindful of. But, well, especially with the Labyrinth with David Bowie.
That's not as bad as Meaning of Life, though.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Meaning of Life was R, thankfully. But,
was it? How did I watch that one?
Because your dad just got it. It's like, oh, I like Monty Python.
My dad probably just forgot about that scene, and then I think he left the room at some point, so he probably, yeah.
Did he just watch Flying Circus on PBS when it was edited?
He did watch Flying Circus, so I don't know.
Okay, because Flying Circus was pretty racy for its time.
I don't know. I think if my dad had realized, he probably wouldn't have let me watch it. So not at that time. I can't remember how old I was though. So.
Which actor played the lead role in Spartacus?
Clint Eastwood?
No, it's Kirk Douglas.
I didn't see Spartacus. I just know
Rock
that scene.
and roll?
I'm Spartacus. I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus.
We're all Spartacus for Spartacus. Let's see. Tallulah, Fat Sam, and Blousey Brown were all characters from which musical? Not as big on musicals either. Bugsy Malone.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, I remember the 90s, no, the late 80s film of Bugsy. I don't remember there's been like a few different views. There was like I remember there being like the musical, and then there was the actual Bugsy from like 1990, I think, and then there was I think there was a kids version of it too. There was a version where a bunch of kids, I think, just reenacted the story of Bugsy Malone, and instead of like shooting at each other with guns, they shot like marshmallow guns or something like that, or threw pies at each other. It was bizarre.
Okay.
Which film was set on board the spaceship Nostromo?
I don't know.
Alien.
Yeah, I guess I didn't pay enough attention during that one.
That's fair. Let's see. What is the name of John Travolta's character in Saturday Night Fever?
Feeder?
Fever. Saturday Night Fever.
I'm not familiar with Saturday Night Fever.
It was Tony Marone.
Danny Zuko?
This is Danny Zuko. Let's see. In Star Wars, what is Emperor I screwed it up already. What was the Emperor's last name? I already know it, though.
Sidious or Palpatine?
Palpatine, yeah. Which, yeah, because it's Palpatine.
Well, I mean, it was Palpatine in the original, but then they came out with the prequels, and then his name had been Sidious before. But when you come up with someone with like the name Sidious or Sinestro or I don't know, insert other thing with the word sinister or something like that in it, how are you not be like, oh yeah, they're the bad guy, you know?
He's now Sheev. Who was the first African American woman to win an Academy Award for Best Actress?
I don't know her name, but she's the lady who played Mammy in Gone with the Wind.
No.
Oh.
I think she was nominated, but she didn't win.
Oh, well, fuck that.
It was actually Halle Berry.
Really? That's... Ooh.
Yeah.
That's sad.
For Best Actress, there have been like Best Supporting Actress before that, because I remember Whoopi Goldberg won for Ghost.
Oh, you know what? The lady I mentioned was probably the Best Supporting Actress.
That would make sense, yeah.
Yeah, because she wasn't the main character.
Yeah. For Monsters Ball. Who played the Riddler in Batman Forever?
Jim Carrey.
No, it's Frank Gorshin. Yeah, it's Jim Carrey.
I wish it was Frank Gorshin.
If only it were Frank Gorshin. Which superhero was played by Linda Carter?
Really? Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
You're the Wonder Woman.
It's amazing that when they play those reruns on like MeTV and like you catch them every once in a while, you're reminded why it's not that great a show.
I don't care if it's a bad show.
No, it was fun.
Wonder Woman.
But then they get those later
All the
episodes.
world is waiting for you.
That episode with the robots is amazing.
Make the honking dove stop from now. Make a liar speak true.
Fight
I don't
Nazis.
even know if I have the right lyrics there. I don't give a shit. Enjoy.
Jack Bauer was the main character on which show?
24.
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't even watch that show, and I know that.
Everyone knows Jack Bauer.
Because at the grocery store, they have a 24-pack of water bottles, and then someone has a drawing of Jack Bauer opening a water bottle. So.
One for every hour.
Enjoy that.
What character did Dan Aykroyd play in the Blues Brothers?
He played one of the Blues Brothers.
Remember his name?
No, I don't. I don't remember. It's been a long time. I'm ashamed of myself.
Elwood.
Yeah, see, I should have known that.
Dreams in Elwood. Eye of the Tiger was the theme song to which film?
Rocky.
Yeah, but which Rocky?
The first one.
Nope.
The second one.
Nope.
I don't give a shit.
You almost said it was the third one.
Doesn't count at that point. I got it wrong all those times. Nah, I never actually watched any of the Rocky films. It's not my bag.
Oh, they're great up to 5.
So in The Simpsons, how many, when they were doing Roman numerals, did they joke with that there were for Rocky movies?
Was it like Rocky 2?
Was it Rocky 8,
Plus,
Adrian's Revenge, or was it 7?
I think it might have been Rocky 7.
Okay.
Which
so coming in 2020.
Well, they're technically
there's time.
Well, there's technically kind of is a Rocky 7 because yeah, they did Rocky 1 through 5, and then they did the remake, which is Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
And then they did kind of a spin-off, more or less, called Creed, where Apollo Creed's son kind of has Rocky train him to become like the next boxer. So they kind of did make Rocky 7 because it's still in the Rocky universe.
Okay.
So Rocky lives on.
What about Adrian's Revenge?
Adrian. That would be actually pretty good if like do Rocky 8. Adrian comes back.
I know those parts that like everybody knows about Rocky. Well, maybe not everybody, but you know, I'm culturally aware of pop culture.
Yes, so you know like a few of the moments like where it was like Paulie takes the turkey out of the oven and throws it in the backyard. And
okay, apparently I'm not culturally aware.
All right, well, like that's what I remember from. Like obviously people remember like the Drago fight where he's like, "I will break you."
Like, you killed Apollo, because that
song
that
by
YouTube person who made those songs. It's like, oh, you killed Apollo.
We'll break you.
Okay. I know he was a really bad He-Man.
Dolph Lundgren, man. Who is the director of Beetlejuice?
Tim Burton.
Yeah.
You can tell it's a Tim Burton movie because Tim Burton movies always have the dark circles around the eyes. It's his trademark, even if it doesn't really fit with the movies, it'll still be there.
Draw attention to the eyes.
It's his thing.
Is that why they chose him for big eyes? We'll get the big eyes direct.
Yeah, there you go. It has to be the eyes.
Yeah.
The eyes.
It's like listen to what Spielberg told him. It's all about the eyes. You make the creature.
It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there. I don't know why.
That's how it works. How many awards did Forrest Gump win?
Many.
Many, yes. I'll accept that. It was 6. Who directed Psycho and the Birds?
Alfred Hitchcock.
Yep.
But as far as Forrest Gump, I had a social studies teacher who just like randomly put on Forrest Gump sometimes.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's like, why are we watching this? Yeah, it's good. It's a good movie.
Did you remember that teacher? You went to the same high school as I did.
I don't remember Forrest. I don't
You
remember
don't
Forrest
remember a
Gump.
teacher that would just... It was a younger looking teacher who just randomly put on Forrest Gump.
I know a teacher would randomly put on CNN, but that's because it was the September 11th attacks, so just watch CNN the rest of the month.
Gross.
Well, that went bad.
Well, you're the one who brought up 9/11.
Yeah, totally derailed it.
I was talking about Forrest Gump, man. I also had a teacher in junior high who'd randomly put on Scooby-Doo. I mean...
Oh, the show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The cartoon show.
I did have a teacher who put on PBS. So we watched Sagwa.
You could have brought up when the Batman would come on, or
that was elementary
Batman
school.
animated series. You could have brought that up in elementary school rather than CNN. What the hell, man?
Yeah, it was pretty cool when adults discovered Batman the animated series. Let's see. Yeah, it's a question about The Wire. We'll skip that one.
I don't know anything about The Wire.
Yeah, I'll skip The Wire.
Unless someone here watches The Wire. Nope. Do you watch The Wire?
I'll throw it out there in case anyone wants to answer it. Which city is The Wire set in? So we'll leave that out there. So we'll go to the next one. Don Draper was the character in which show?
Mad Men.
Yeah.
I really liked Mad Men. I blew through all of it.
An amazing show. Where essentially it's just Don Draper just being depressed.
Sometimes you just want to punch him in the face, though.
Yeah. It was like Breaking
Wow,
Bad.
kitty.
Try to make him the villain.
Come here, kitty.
Hey, kid. Which 2 classic Hollywood actresses appeared in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane?
So I've seen this movie all the way through. It's Betty Davis and the wire hanger one. I can't think of her name.
Miss Crawford?
Yeah.
Joan Crawford?
Yeah. That one.
Yeah. Yeah, you're close. In which TV show would you find the Winchester brothers? Oh, that's a Supernatural question. I don't watch Supernatural.
You wouldn't even let me answer.
Did you know it?
Yes.
Oh, dang.
I have watched Supernatural. I wanted to like that show, but I just couldn't get into it. I know someone who's like obsessed with it. Maybe it's great in like the later seasons, but the ones I was watching, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
It was boring. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I can't be part of your family.
I'm sorry.
Now getting simpler. Who directed Avatar?
M. Night Shyamalan, but he shouldn't have.
No. That was not Avatar: The Last Airbender. Just Avatar.
Oh, Cameron.
Yeah, there you go. Which actor plays Sheldon Cooper in The Big Bang Theory?
Jim Parsons?
Yep.
I used to like that show and I'm ashamed of it.
Well, here's a...
It took adding the female character for me to realize something about that show. So, the female geek.
Yeah. That question is still out there if anyone wants to answer it. What city is The Wire set in? But right now,
only Nope's watching, I think, or there was one person
well,
watching. I think it's Nope, but Nope says that they're a movie novice. So,
oh, okay.
But The Wire is a TV show, but
yeah.
it's kind of like I don't know a whole lot of people who watch that one, as far as I know. If they do, they never talk about it. So.
I know a few people. It has a bit of a following, not a huge one, but a fairly big amount. Which of the following films was not directed by Steven Spielberg? Saving Private Ryan, Minority Report, or Shawshank Redemption?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
It was the Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
That was directed by... on the spot here. Frank Darabont.
I don't know who that is.
He would go on to do The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Okay. Here's one more up your alley. What's the name of the killer clown from It?
Pennywise.
Yeah. Let's see. Interview with the Vampire is based on the book by which author?
Anne Rice, although that's probably not her real name.
Yeah, the author name.
She also went as A.N. Rockler for this erotica series that my mom accidentally, well, not accidentally, she bought me this 3-set Sleeping Beauty by A.N. Rockler, the author of Interview with the Vampire, because she knew I liked some of her books, Anne Rice's books, and then I read a little bit of it. I'm like, Mom, this is erotica. She didn't know. It didn't indicate it anywhere on the box set. So.
Whoops. Sorry about you then.
I can't remember how old I was either. I was still living with my dad, so.
Sorry
college at the
erotica.
oldest. I don't know if I'm done yet.
All right.
Keep going.
Well, this one's a little more esoteric. In Pulp Fiction, what was the name of the fictional TV show that starred Mia Wallace?
Don't remember.
It was kind of an action show. It was called Fox Force 5.
That reminds me of that really obnoxious, like, Hitler show you watched.
Oh, Force 5?
Yeah.
Where Space Hitler tries to conquer Earth? No, wait, Demon Space Hitler. Because he's got the horns. I forgot.
I don't know. Anything that makes Hitler look stupid is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
F that guy.
How do I convince people that this character is the
F
villain?
that guy.
I'll draw him like Hitler. There we go.
It's such a ridiculous show.
I'm trying to remember. I think that might have been...
I'm not sure that I liked it, though, but
because
it's okay.
Force 5 was like a block, and I think the show...
It's a weird show.
In Japan, it's called Get a Robo, but over here it was called
Get a Robo.
Over here, it had a more ridiculous name. I think it was called... Space-Cateers.
They gotta stop Hitler.
No, wait, it was either Space-Cateers or Starvengers. Some stupid name like that. Which actor starred in an 80s film about an American town that had banned dancing?
Well, read the question again.
Which actor starred in an 80s film about an American town that banned dancing?
Kurt Russell?
No, give you a hint. They mentioned it in Guardians of the Galaxy.
That guy who looks like Kurt Russell, who I get confused with Kurt Russell, who is in Dirty Dancing.
Oh,
or was that
no.
Kurt Russell? I don't know.
No, that was Patrick Swayze.
That's the guy who I was thinking of.
Yeah. No, like the film is it's Flashdance, and it was Kevin Bacon.
Not my kind of movie, so.
They banned dancing.
It is bizarre. Is it like there are a few religions that you can't dance. I think the Methodists. Is it the Methodists who aren't allowed to dance? Or was it Lutherans who used to not be able to but probably do now? I should know this. But I remember. Okay, so I went on a tour of the Glen Sheen Mansion, and in one of the rooms, they say you weren't allowed to dance in this religion or something like that. So they had something else. They don't have a ballroom or whatever. I think it was Methodist, but I'm sorry to the Methodists if I'm wrong.
Well, they didn't want to leave their friends behind.
Yeah. There's a couple religions, I think, where you used to not be allowed to dance, at the least.
Probably.
I don't know anymore. It could be different now.
Yeah. Probably mostly dance. I hope
a lot of religions lightened up within the past 50 years, even. So
yeah,
it's like or maybe more, because I'm thinking of the 1950s. So that's more than 50 years. But like Catholic women used to always have to wear a hat.
Yeah.
So
when
weird. They were out or in church.
Well, here's a Marilyn Monroe question.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first name of the character played by Marilyn Monroe in Some Like It Hot?
I've seen the movie, but I don't remember.
It was Sugar.
I'm actually not good at remembering the names of characters in most movies. It's just some of them I can, but
I kind of am too.
Not very many of them. So.
It has to be like a really bizarre name, and then I could kind of remember it. Like,
or if I saw it like a whole bunch of times, then I'll remember it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
That's what I liked about, like, because Robert De Niro used to play actors with really weird names to remember, like Travis Bickle and Rupert Pupkin.
What movies were those? I don't remember that.
Travis Bickle was a taxi driver, and Mr. Rupert Pupkin was Mr. Saturday Night.
He was in Taxi Driver?
Oh, no, wait, not Mr. Saturday Night, the King of Comedy.
What?
Yeah, De Niro was...
You didn't say De Niro, though. You said someone else, I think.
I'm pretty sure I said De Niro.
Okay, maybe you did, and I just thought of somebody else for some reason. Okay, continue.
De Niro.
It's getting late.
Okay. The Disney film Tangled is a retelling of which fairy tale?
Rapunzel.
Mm-hmm. Velma Kelly and Roxy Hart are characters in which Oscar-winning... Yeah. You got it. Which series... This is easy as hell. Which series of Star Trek did Patrick Stewart play Captain Picard?
Next Generation.
Yeah.
We've even been talking about that one tonight.
In which James Bond film did Daniel Craig first make his appearance?
Oh, gosh.
So, like, what was the first Daniel Craig Bond film?
I don't know. I haven't been following those.
Yeah. That's only one if you've been following Bond.
I could tell you what some of the names of the movies are.
Okay, maybe, yeah, see if you
GoldenEye and Casino Royale are the only ones I can remember.
He wasn't in GoldenEye, but Casino Royale, that was his first one.
Okay. I saw the original Casino Royale, which was actually really long, boring, and actually not really James Bond, so...
Yeah, the Daniel Craig one is the real
the
James
Peter
Bond.
Sellers.
Yeah,
Casino Royale.
Not Peter Sellers at his best.
Mm-mm. Don't see that one. Don't waste your time.
Nope. What was the theme song for Despicable Me 2?
2?
Yeah. It's a popular song. It's one that's played on the radio. Think about the opening scene.
Because I'm happy, clap along if you know
Yep.
happiness.
Do you know the artist?
Yes and no. I can't think of it right now, but it's swimming in there somewhere.
All right. We'll see if it comes back to it. Let's see. Who wrote the novel on which The Shawshank Redemption is based?
Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen King is such a prolific writer, and so many of his books have been adapted.
Just about everything.
I know, right?
Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt met on the set of which film?
I don't know, but they were both in, like, the Smiths or something.
That's it.
Really? They met there?
Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Yeah.
That seems weird.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Seems odd. The Wizard of Oz. Which character asked the wizard for a heart?
The Tin Man.
If I only had a heart. In what film did Harrison Ford star as the Detective Deckard?
You be pissed if I got this one
You
wrong.
better know.
Blade Runner.
Yeah. Which actor voiced the character of Lightning McQueen in Cars?
I don't know and I don't care.
It's Owen Wilson.
I don't like that movie.
No.
All the Pixar movies to make a sequel to.
I don't know if you've seen the show, but Peaky Blinders is set in which UK city?
I don't know. I've heard of the show. I've seen the cover. I've never watched it.
Yeah, I've never watched it either.
Oh, have a good night. Nope. I gotta go to bed too soon here because I'm tired and I'm hungry. It's not a good combination.
Ah. Let's see.
Good night.
Good night. I'll Make a Man Out of You is a song from which film?
Mulan!
They made a typo in this one too. It says, I'll make a man out of you. What the hell? Is that how this song goes? Make a mano out of you?
A mano?
A mano. You're my mano.
Mano y mano?
Which TV show is set in Pawnee, Indiana?
I don't know, but I know one that's set in Erie, Indiana.
Missouri, Indiana. Let's see. It was a primetime comedy. It's fairly recent.
It doesn't matter. I don't know the answer,
Right.
hon.
It's Parks and Recreation.
Okay. I couldn't get into that show either. I wanted to because I saw pictures with text underneath. Memes? I don't know.
Yeah,
That looked funny. But then I tried to watch it and I'm like, this is not good. So maybe what the later seasons are, but I don't know.
For which film did Leonardo DiCaprio win okay, this kind of reveals it. Which film did Leonardo DiCaprio win his Academy Award for in 2016?
That one where he gets raped by a bear.
Yes, Revenant. But I will accept getting raped by a bear, because that's the biggest thing he did in the film. But that's weird though, because like I was going back to the Ant-Man question. So they clearly, so it wasn't just like a date. They really did get this wrong.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh boy. In what year did Family Guy premiere?
Well, I was in like. Do I really want to say how old I was when I started watching that one? I gotta crunch some numbers here.
Okay.
2000 maybe?
Close. It's 99.
Ah, shit.
Very
Okay.
close. I remember it had to have been like 99 because they did have that episode about New Year's where they did the Y2K scare. So
Okay.
let's see. What is the name of the Doctor's home planet in Doctor Who?
Gallifrey.
Yeah. What was the name of the first song played on The Lion King? The very first
The
song.
name of it? The Circle of Life.
Yeah.
I can't sing Swahili.
Empanada, empanada. Let's see. Oh, another song. A Kiss from a Rose by Seal was the theme song of which film? Remember this.
I want to say one of the Batman movies.
It is a Batman movie.
Is it the Batman Forever?
Yep.
Yeah, that's just wrong though, isn't it?
I remember that because I obsessed over that because that music video has Seal in front of the bat signal with wind going up his shirt, and then they'd randomly cut to footage from Batman Forever. And then they get to that point in the song which is like, my power, my favor, my thing. And when they get to that point, they immediately cut to Val Kilmer's reaction as Batman going. It is the greatest music video tie-in. Which Disney film featured the song When You Wish Upon a Star?
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. It's probably Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Because
Geppetto.
it involves wishing upon a star.
Mhm.
Anything your heart desires will come true. Unless, you know, I'm hoping, unless you're a terrible person, that your dreams don't come true.
In that case, go to hell. Come on, Pinocchio, we gotta help old Hitler.
Unless you're, you know, Voldemort or something, your dreams can stay dead. You know, those dreams, they can, you know, not come true. Thanks.
Who sang the theme song for Quantum of Solace?
Adele?
Oh, you're one off. You're one off that. Adele did the one after that, Skyfall.
I had no idea then.
Quantum of Solace was Jack White and Alicia Keys.
You know what I heard?
What?
That one singer who's on all the time, who I don't like, who looks like Ron Weasley. What's his name? I don't remember his name. He's got the song, "Loving Can Hurt, Loving Can Hurt." I can't think of his name. Anyway, he looks like he's a Weasley or something.
Okay.
A chubby Weasley.
All right.
Ed Sheeran, that's his name.
Oh.
Ed Sheeran says that he's written a song for a Bond movie just in case they ask him.
Oh. You guys need one?
Got one?
He's waiting in the wings. Which film takes place in Raccoon City?
Oh, it's
It's a video game too.
I know. It's Resident Evil.
Yeah. This is easy. Everything is Awesome is featured in the soundtrack for which film? Yeah.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team.
I love this song.
Everything is awesome when you're living on a dream. I can't even tell you that is done by the Lonely Island.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. They did that big thing at the Academy Awards. They did that and they brought out Will Arnett in the Batman suit.
There you go.
That was great.
I didn't know that, but that sounds cool.
That was the only great part. And they brought out a whole bunch of Legos. Which TV series centered on the daily life of 4 female neighbors in the suburbs of Fairview? I think you would know that one.
Is it Desperate Housewives?
That's right. Yeah.
I used to watch that show.
You did? Oh. Well, I guess there you go.
I got annoyed with it though, because it's pretty much a soap opera with a higher quality.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it seemed like. What was Barney and Betty's surname in the Flintstones?
Rubble.
Yep. Let's see. What was the name of the car in Knight Rider?
I don't remember.
It was Kit. K-I-T-T.
I know I should have known that one.
Yeah, they kind of escape sometimes. What was the name of Gus's restaurant in Breaking Bad?
I don't know, but I know it was fast food.
It was fast food, yeah. It was fried chicken. It was Los Pollos Hermanos.
Yeah. See, you're bombarding me with all this trivia. I'm just going to be thinking about movies, and I'm going to go to work tomorrow, and I'm going to have to remember the things I need for my work, and all that's going to come up is like Barney Rubble. You know?
Barney. Let's see. Which song by The Doors plays during the opening credits of Apocalypse Now?
Never saw that movie.
This is the end.
The end, my friend. This is the end.
What Liam Rimes song was featured on the soundtrack for Coyote Ugly?
Never saw that movie.
I didn't. Can't Fight the Moonlight.
Never heard of that song.
Never heard of it. What is the surname of the bartender Moe in The Simpsons?
Sizzlack.
Yeah. I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston appears on The Bodyguard, but who wrote the song?
Not Whitney Houston.
Yeah, it's not Whitney Houston.
I think it's actually a man too.
No, it's actually a woman.
Oh, it is?
It's another famous woman.
Oh, Dolly Parton.
Yeah. That's right.
I didn't know that one.
See?
And I will always love you.
Now carry me.
Yeah, carry me to bed.
That was the only good part of The Hitman's Bodyguard. Was the marketing they did for that film. They had Ryan Reynolds carrying Samuel L. Jackson in the style of The Bodyguard. That was the only great thing about that film was that poster.
Nice.
What was Molly Ringwald's character in The Breakfast Club? Why was Molly Ringwald's character in The Breakfast Club given detention?
I don't know, 'cause she's a bitch.
Pretty much, yeah. She skipped school to go shopping.
Yeah, she's a bitch. Yeah,
She's a bitch. That sounds like bitch material.
You're in school to learn, not to go shopping.
Which real-life Hollywood couple starred in Overboard?
I don't know. I never heard of that movie.
It's the one where the kids and like that. Oh, the husband with the multiple kids marries the wife. I think it's Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. It's kind of like a yours, mine, and ours type thing.
I still have never heard of that movie.
It's not a very good movie. It's mainly because
maybe that's why
it gets compared to like Cheaper by the Dozen and Yours, Mine, and Ours. So
movies that both were remade in the 2000s.
Yeah.
The original Yours, Mine, and Ours has Lucille Ball in it.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't need to be remade.
No. Well, at least they gave it a more recognizable name. So
Yeah.
Because how many people remember Overboard? In what year was the first Harry Potter film released? Oh.
Let's see.
Gonna crunch some numbers again.
Yeah, I can do it in my head, but I don't want you to watch me do it in my head because I'll get nervous. So.
Where were you when Harry Potter was in theaters?
When I feel like I'm being watched, I can't even like really think. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes I don't know. 2001.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you get it.
I know how old I was when I saw it, but I don't need to tell everybody how old I was when Harry Potter came out.
What was the name of the longtime barista at the Central Perk in Friends?
Well, Rachel was a barista for a long ass time, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Not a good one though, I think, and I don't know how they afforded their shit. Cause damn.
Yeah, it was Gunther.
I told you I didn't really watch that show.
I barely
a few
did either.
episodes
Yeah.
Here and there, just because it was on all the time, but
yeah,
not my kind of thing.
I wasn't that into it. I knew a few people in my school who were like religiously watched it, but that was about it.
It's a normie show.
Yeah. It's prime time.
Remember when we were on that movie tour when we made the mistake of going to New York for a trip and not planning things very well?
Well, the tour was the worst part because it was mostly just about Friends, and where Friends was shot, and then they played the Friends theme song on the bus.
And we're the only ones who didn't clap.
And we're like, this is hell.
You didn't get off the bus either.
We fell into hell.
It's like, I don't give a shit about Friends.
I don't care about Friends.
I don't really care about photo ops either, so that was like not smart.
Well,
I'm just like, Mark likes movies.
Well, it doesn't make sense either because like most of Friends is shot on like studio sets.
Most of the shows that they talked about were filmed on studio sets.
Yeah, like there's a few films they mentioned like Spider-Man and all that, but But like Friends mostly shot on a set, and there's like establishing shots, and they showed stuff from like the Cosby Show. It's like, yeah, but it's a studio set. You're gonna show us the establishing shot.
We should have just gone to more shows when we were in New York.
Yeah.
And we probably should have stayed in a different area too. What do I know?
What does Nicolas Cage's character try to steal in National Treasure?
Was it the Declaration of Independence?
Yep.
Okay.
There's treasure. In Kenan and Kel, what is Kel's favorite drink?
Who loves orange soda? Kel loves orange soda. Is it true?
I know I loved Good Burger.
Oh, Kenan and Kel. They need to do more. Well, I guess Kenan was on SNL, but SNL is kind of hit or miss these days, isn't it?
They came back briefly to introduce like Kenan and Kel reruns for a while. So.
Why can't he get more roles? Or just he not trying hard enough? I don't know.
He tries. Like he's done a few like kind of very, very small films.
Yeah.
That he's done.
I know he was in like Soul Plane, wasn't he? And
yeah, but there's a lot of people kind of regretted being in Soul Plane. So.
And he was maybe that was one of the mistakes.
I don't
know.
Well, I don't feel too bad for him.
I love Goodberg, but Kel's not in movies anymore either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of let Soul Plane go because, like, I mean, there were.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's fine.
Well, I mean, because like Snoop Dogg and Monique in there, they usually make better choices, and they were kind of like.
I just assume I wasn't the target audience for that, so.
Well, what's interesting is that
I don't know if I saw that one. I saw enough of it, I think, to know that it wasn't for me.
No, it's not a very good film at all. Most people, well, like I like the fact that the Boondocks kind of like sealed the fate of them making a sequel by making a trailer for Soul Plane 2. Oh. Starring 50 Cent on the plane, toting a gun. And they made sure, because they made the plot so ridiculous that there's no possible way they do Soul Plane 2. And they actually had Snoop Dogg and Monique reprise their roles for that trailer.
Did they basically do that because they didn't want them to make a sequel? And so they're like, this is what I think you're fucking movie.
Well, the film was a huge disaster that there wouldn't be a sequel, but this is kind of like the nail in the coffin to ensure there won't be. Mm-hmm. So, there you go. Let's see. In the film Groundhog Day, which song plays on the radio each morning?
I've Got You, Babe.
Got You, Babe. Sonny and Cher.
I've got you to hold my hand. I've got you to understand, babe. I got you, babe.
I can't die.
I'm sorry. People don't want to hear my awful singing, do they?
In which U.S.
At first, I started thinking about 1408. We've only just begun.
That's right. The worst thing, to wake up to music.
To wake up to music?
Well, to wake up to music that you hear day in and day out, because especially if like it's the same day, because then you really would hate that song.
Just wanted to say I think I'm done with this. Yep.
Wow. I
know. I'll post it to Instagram when I have time to scan it. Well, no, I don't think I am done. Nah, I looked at it.
You get some more? Okay.
I'm probably going to overwork it, and then it'll be awful, and they'll be like, that sucks. So...
In which U.S. city is the TV show Frasier set? Oh my goodness.
Seattle?
Yes.
I think I gotta go to bed though, man.
Okay.
No, tomorrow's Friday, but I still need to work.
Okay.
One more.
All right, well, we'll do one more. Actually, sort through. See if I can find a good one here.
Okay.
I'll find a really good one. No. God, no.
Meow. Okay. I think the cat's ready too.
Yeah, I'll get you. Hang on.
Either that or she's telling us to go to bed. I can't tell with her.
It's either or. Alright, we'll end on a positive one. Which singer starred as Jareth, the Goblin King, in Labyrinth?
We were already talking about this earlier. David Bowie.
Yeah, David Bowie.
Gotta get me out of here. I'm underground.
David Bowie. Nothing. Nothing.
Tra-la-la.
Tra-la-la. Nothing.
Oh, our kid thinks that's hilarious.
She
won't stop quoting that one part, though, if you bring it up.
It's like the good films hold up. It's actually, I was reminded, because Cargill, actually, I remember he was telling a story that at one point he had, like, some nephews over, and they were complaining that they wanted to watch a particular film, and he said, like, nah, you kids are watching The Dark Crystal. And they're like, we're not going to watch. It's like,
that
look,
one creeps me out.
Just watch a little bit of it, and if you don't like it, then you don't like it. And now they're addicted to it. And the thing is, like, it's the same thing with Labyrinth.
That one creeps me out, though.
I know it.
Crystal. With his creepy puppet things.
Man, those puppet fantasies hold up.
When I watched Labyrinth as a kid, though, I caught it. When I first saw it, I caught it on the Disney Channel. Mm-hmm. But I felt like, should I be watching this? I felt dirty watching it.
Yeah.
Like I said, sexual awakening. Because I was 12 when I first saw that. Well, and then I couldn't find it anywhere else, and they didn't play it on TV hardly ever.
Yeah.
So
It's weird. It feels like it should be played more.
yeah, well, they didn't have it at the movie store for a while either. It was weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta dance, magic dance.
Yeah.
The power of voodoo. Well, we almost got through all the cards, but there you go. Mostly, most of them we knew. So yeah. Thank you for watching. My name is Mark McPherson, movie critic for Moviespoon.com and TwinCitiesGeek.com. If you want to read reviews of The Commuter and Paddington 2, the review for Paddington 2 will be on Twin Cities Geek, and the review for The Commuter will be on Moviespoon.com. You can also be sure to check out my books, The Best Worst Weird Movies of the 1990s. We also have a YouTube page and also have a Patreon page, a whole bunch of other crap beneath on the Twitch channel. So there you go. And my wife's still drawing. Are you?
Sorry.
How's it looking?
I'm on Instagram as Vision Goo. I don't think I have anything else. So I have a Twitch account that we stream on Wednesdays. So catch us at 8 Central Standard Time. Remember, Rick? And Wednesdays and Thursdays. Wednesdays at Vision Goo. Thursdays at Movies with Mark. Yep.
And we'll be back next week. I will have reviews of 12 Strong, the new war film, and The Insult, a Middle Eastern court drama. So there we go. So,
okie dokie.
See you next Thursday.